Welcome in to the Jordy Culotta Show, live here on this Thursday.
Does it always startle you too?
A little production right there, right at the beat drop.
I always jump when you
Thursday morning here at the UDL. We're live. We're talking this mother bleeping airplay. I swear to God, dude. This fucking technology.
It's before 8 a.m. We can't
John
talk
Thompson, former defensive coordinator. He was Nick Saban's first defensive coordinator here at LSU. He's going to stop by here at 7:30 this morning. We're going to ask him his thoughts on everything. SEC football, huge college football weekend. What's he think about Georgia, Arkansas? What's he think about Ole Miss, Alabama? What's he think about Auburn, LSU? What's he think about Kentucky and Florida? All types of college football games to talk about with John Thompson coming up at 7:30 this morning. Coach Ed Orgeron was over at his weekly radio show last night over at TJ Ribs. We'll react to some of the stuff that was coming out over there. We will also talk to Makin Money here this morning at 8:30 as we'll get some of the weekend's picks from the Barstool Sports employees. She'll stop by here 30 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock, and then during the 8 o'clock hour at some point, Shea Dixon is going to pop into the UDL. We'll talk huge recruiting weekend for LSU. Obviously, we talked to Walker Howard here yesterday morning. He's getting set for a weekend visit to Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. A couple of the other commits are going to be down here. Who's going to be here unofficially, officially? Lots to get to with Shea Dixon. If you've got a question for Shea around recruiting, get inside of the Bunker app. You can find us there, right there on YouTube, on Facebook, or on JordyCulottaShow.com. Easy to find us there.
Just getting raped by technology today. It's just you got to know you're taking it from all sides, dude.
I feel like I've been drugged. I don't even have a chance. So jump inside of the Bunker. Look, we need likes, shares, if you can, really quick before we get going here. Make sure and like the post. Share the post if you don't mind. If you want to comment on it, we appreciate that very much. Any way to get this in front of new eyeballs, new listeners, that helps us out tremendously.
Just pick one person from your email list, just one every day, and share it with them. Doesn't matter. Just start at the top of the alphabet. Work your way down every day.
Off to a good start here with 20 likes.
Yeah.
Before we get into it. All right, so we're getting closer here to kickoff. Ed Orgeron was speaking last night, which means that he'll only meet with the media one more time here in game week before we really start looking ahead to Saturday, and it's going to be Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Some news that came out yesterday. John Emery had his appeal denied by the NCAA. This was, man, I hated to see this for John Emery. You hate to see it for LSU's run game if you're a fan of LSU. But Emery's attorney did say that they plan to pursue other options. For now, he remains ineligible this season. His appeal to overturn his academic ineligibility was denied yesterday. What a weird story this is. It seemed like Donald Jackson, the lawyer out of Mississippi, was feeling very confident last week and throughout the process that John Emery's hardship was going to be heard, it was going to be understood, and the NCAA would green light him to get back on the field here during his junior season of college football. That was denied yesterday, so you wonder what the future holds for John Emery. He'll be draft eligible after this season. He's a very explosive player. When you just talk about his natural skill set, I mean, he's somebody that, his reputation coming in and recruiting, was a 5-star back out of Destrehan that, he could change the scoreboard in one touch. Every time he touched the ball, he could hit you a home run. He could hit a grand slam from anywhere on the field if he was returning kicks, returning punts. You could toss it to him. You could throw it to him. So obviously LSU misses that weapon within the offense, but to see this case come and go here on the appeals part of the process and fall short was a little confusing, especially in the NCAA's world of 2021 where they're looking for good PR, right? The NCAA doesn't want to be on the bad end of public relations. Now, maybe they don't care as much after all the news that's happened over the last couple of months of NIL deals and transfer portal and going up to Washington, D.C., Mark Emmert in front of the Supreme Court and just being, embarrassed in front of the world.
Got dog walk up there.
Jeez, that was about as embarrassing as you'll ever see an executive get dressed down in public, as Mark Emmert was in Washington, D.C. a couple of months back. But, all of that stuff. I don't know if if they've really lost the concern for standing out with bad public relations, because I just don't know how much worse it can get for the NCAA. So maybe they're just holding their ground and going to keep this. Obviously, Can
he still be draft eligible if this doesn't get overturned? Like, so
Absolutely.
if he's out for the season, will it matter? Will he keep fighting that, or then
No.
is he just done? And
No,
then
I mean, if I was John Emery at this point, draft eligibility is 3 years removed from your high school graduating class.
Okay.
So you can sit out of football for 3 years if you want.
But
And
the legal stuff wouldn't matter? Like, this going on wouldn't
No,
affect
not from
that?
the NCAA standpoint.
Okay.
I mean, if there was any type of, off the field legal stuff, that would come into play. But I mean, when you're talking about academics and hardships and NCAA, all that stuff goes to the wayside and falls apart once he, moves on out of the NCAA, once he gets out of it, which I anticipate that John Emery, I mean, if I was a part of his team and he was looking at me for any type of consultation, not that he would, but I mean, if I was in there, I would say, man, let's get the hell out of here. Let's go pro. I mean, don't take these hits now. I know that you can get paid now in college football, but you can't make the type of money that John Emery would be looking at in comparison to a NIL deal. There's nobody out there that's going to pay him, United Airlines type money what they're paying Derek Stingley. He's just unproven. I'm not saying that it's anything from his reputation. He's just unproven on the field. And, he's a guy that if you got him into a testing atmosphere, if you got him into a LSU Pro Day, if you got him into the NFL Combine, if you got him into individual workouts for a team, he can't hide how talented he is. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to do some research, and he's got some stuff that you got to get him motivated, you got to get him zoned in, and you got to make sure that he's
all good.
He's all good, but at the next level, you don't have to worry about if he's going to class or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about if he's taking care of his academics. As long as he's staying up on the football stuff, then you should be okay. And I mean, the motivation of money would think, would get him right in that sense. And if I was a part of his team, I would tell him, bro, let's get the hell out of here. I mean, go pro, put your name into the NFL draft. I mean, if you're a 5th, 6th, 7th, even if you're an undrafted guy, you're talented enough to get into somebody's camp and then be like, wow, I didn't know that he can run like this, or I didn't know he could catch the ball like this. I didn't know that he was as explosive as he is. Because, I mean, some of his sophomore film last year, I mean, he showed it. Whether it was the Alabama run, whether it was his game against Vanderbilt, whether it was just points and spots along the way. I mean, I still remember him catching a flat route in 2019 and making somebody miss in the open field early in the season. It even may have been like a Georgia Southern game.
It was the first.
Was it the first game?
Yeah.
Where you thought, wow, I mean, he's going to have input on this team.
Right.
Like he's going to scratch and get on the field on this uber talented squad that just was pumping out draft picks. But I think that Emery is. You've probably seen the last of him in purple and gold.
Is he allowed to go to LSU's pro day, or I mean,
Yes.
there's a slim chance he gets invited to the combine, right? They're kind of stingy with who they invite. I would imagine he doesn't have the skins on the wall to be able to get a combine invite, so he would be really reliant on LSU pro day.
He would absolutely be a part of the pro day. I mean, he would be invited. I think from LSU football standpoint, I mean, he's still in good standing. I mean, he's still in good standing with the program. I mean, it's obviously he's not being able to play because of some academic stuff that he's going with. But, I mean, you see him on the team. You see him around the team. You see him on the sidelines. I mean,
he's basically using this as training. Like, I'm
Yes.
just going to stay in
I mean,
shape, practice.
if for the same reason, if I'm advising him, I'm telling him stay around the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make sure that you are a good teammate right now. Make sure that you're taking care of your responsibility. They were allowing him to practice as late as last week. I don't know what the protocol would be now, but I mean, if he had an option to stay on the field, stay off the field, like just get 4th team reps, just stay out of the way, but keep yourself in shape and keep the pads on, I would encourage him to do that, just because, I mean, there's something to be said. I believe that Jamar Chase's early struggles in preseason was the fact that, I mean, he was putting pads on for the first time again in over a year. You know what I mean? If you don't play football, you really lose a football skill pretty quick. You know what I mean? It's so fast, it's so physical, it's so in your face that your body, your mind, all have to be on point of exactly what I'm doing out there. I mean, there's no better way to get hurt on the football field than not practice football or get out there and tiptoe around. You know what I mean? When things are moving at 100 miles an hour around you and you've kind of got your head on a swivel just tiptoeing, that's how you get decapitated on a football field.
It sucks for him. So what can he do? Just keep trying to keep practicing?
Yeah, just keep himself in shape. You know, I mean, and really, I mean, I could spin this if I'm his representative to the next level as very positive. Like, you're getting somebody who is a, you know, I mean, from a scouting standpoint, he's a home run hitter. He's a guy that you could toss it to deep in your own territory, and he could score for you. You could toss him a screen pass, and he could make one guy miss, and he's gone. He's also coming to you with a lot of tread on the tire. He's coming out of a big-time program playing SEC football with not a lot of hits, not a lot of dings on him. I mean, he's for all intents and purposes, I mean, he's fresh.
He's only touched the ball 134 times. And that's with rushes and catches in 2 years, so that's nothing. And
if he was eligible, he'd start tomorrow.
Exactly.
He'd start Saturday.
So he's and not only would
he start here, he'd start at probably 9 out of he'd probably start at the majority of the schools in the conference. I mean, he is, from a football player standpoint, I know he's been a headache to deal with on and off the field, but if you have him right and he's zoned in, he's big time. And if I'm an NFL scout, I'm not worried about him not going to class. I mean, there is something about the character there that you need to do the evaluation on. But as far as, like, his academic struggles, bro, do you know how to pick up a blitz? You know how to pass protect? You know how to catch this ball in the flat if I tell you to run this route? Yes, sir, you do? We'll take you. You know what I mean?
Good on that end.
It's all good. It's all good. So, you hate it for LSU. You hate it for just John Emery's 3 years here.
Just his trajectory and what could have been. It's just such a bizarre thing. Like, this is very rare for this to happen, for them to be in again, out again, especially for academics. Usually LSU has that ship, like, very righted.
Right.
So this is one of the more peculiar cases that's happened at LSU.
I know. So do we think there's more to it than just academics? Like, just, I mean, there has to be, right?
I don't think there's anything from a football standpoint, because LSU needs as many players as they can use, and they definitely need a 5-star running back that can break a game open. So I don't think that there's anything from a football standpoint. I mean, look, LSU compliance is Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the reputation, and I'm not saying that some of this doesn't fall on Emery. Like, I'm not trying to totally lift the blame off of him, but it is very rare that you see in Division I sports at Power 5 football schools, especially in the SEC, where the starting running back has academic issues because of a class that may or may not have been eligible. It's just a very weird story.
It is.
It's very quirky. It's very hard to understand in 2021 how an SEC school is dealing with this issue. And it all could have been resolved if John Emery just would have went to class. But if you dig in and you listen to Don Jackson and you read some of the reporting out there, he was dealing with hardships off the field that he had going on in his personal life. You nor I can understand that from his personnel. Just like you can't understand what I'm going through. I don't understand what you're going through. We don't understand what John Emery was going through this process. Right. The fact that he wasn't going to class is easy to bang on, but why he was missing class is what they were trying to prove to the NCAA. That was denied yesterday. Now he's ineligible for the rest of the season. I mean, it's a sucky story, man.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it just all around, it sucks.
Is he ineligible for the rest of the year? Will the appeal process will take that long to be able to get him back on the field? Take longer than this year?
Well, the way I understood it was yesterday was the hearing. You know, I mean,
he can go back and appeal.
He can go back and appeal, but I don't know how how fast that's going to happen. You know, I mean, I think people anticipated this ruling to come down before the UCLA game. You know, I mean, and here you are a month later. I mean, you can't go through the process again, burn another month up. Next thing you know, you're in bowl prep. You know what I mean? If I'm John Emery's people, I'm saying,
chalking up for the college football playoff.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. You know what I mean? Just go get right, get yourself ready for the draft, and you just take your shot.
You don't think there's any chance he comes back for another year at LSU? He won't get drafted. I find it hard that there's a chance for him to move up so far in the draft if he plays 1 year at LSU and is the absolute bell cow back where he gets 25 touches a game.
See, I think he could work himself into the draft.
I know, but the difference between going in the 5th round and the 3rd round, there's so much money to that.
Yeah, but you know what?
Table.
You're not worried about that if you're John Emery's
You just want to get out of here.
You just want to get into the league. You want to get into the cycle. And there's too many arrogant coaches at that level who are offensive geniuses that would look at John Emery and say, I got a spot for him. I mean, I just got to imagine that Sean McVay, Cliff Kingsbury, Andy Reid, somebody looks at him, Urban Meyer looks at him and says, just pick him up. I mean, if he's there in the 6th, 7th round, we'll take him. And it'll be on John Emery to get into the camp, stay out of trouble, prove that he's a good football player. And to me, he's a guy that could be in the league. I mean, his skill set fits the NFL to a T in 2021. I mean, he's exactly really what you want from a running back standpoint. Versatile enough to help you in the passing game, quick enough to run through the tackles, strong enough to run, in a power tackles, into a power situation. But ideally, I mean, he's a very hybrid, versatile guy.
It's a little bit like Le'Veon Bell whenever he was, in his prime. That was my comp whenever he came to LSU. Because in high school, they would split him out wide. Like, he was playing wide receiver, running back. He was all over the field, so he's multidimensional, but it's just a shame you never got to see it at LSU.
Yeah.
You saw just flashes. He's the biggest tease of all time if you're an LSU fan.
Yes, no, it's just been a flash.
Yeah, it's 75 yards. But like who's for?
Right, and I mean,
you don't
just
see him
looks
again.
so electric in the way that he runs. I mean, he almost has that gallop to him where he never looks like he opens it up, but he's running away from everybody. Where he's just like, wow, look how, is he going full speed? It's just incredible to see him
glide.
Glide out there. It's a hell of a hit for LSU football. I know that they had a lot of stock on him being back and what he could have done to the offensive game plan moving forward. But you'll be without him, and LSU is going to face Auburn on Saturday night. And Ed Orgeron last night was speaking to TJ Ribbs' crowd. He also met with the media like he does every Wednesday and was giving some insight. Hey, don't forget that we're brought to you by Majestic Coffee down here. Our coffee is locally brewed at Majestic Coffee. DeliciousSips.com is where you find them online. True Blue Water is the official water of the Jordy Culotta Show. If you'd like to get on the delivery route, you can look them up online at trubluewater.com. Truebluewater.com at trubluewater.com. Our official spice is Papa Earl's. Shout out to Papa Earl's. Remember, 30% less sodium than the competition. So if you're looking maybe for a healthier choice for your spice, next time you're in High Neighbor, Calandro's, Rouse's, pick up a can of Papa Earl's spice. And as always, our phone line sponsor, Metropolitan Health Group, our good friends Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, the entire crew over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Today's guests include John Thompson, former defensive coordinator, head coach at Eastern Carolina. Makin Money from Barstool Sports is going to stop by and give us some picks on the weekend, and then Shea Dixon's going to be in here for a couple of minutes. It was interesting to hear Orgeron speaking of Auburn last night. He anticipates TJ Finley going to get the start here. I know that Brian Harsin has not said anything. Rohan was speaking about it a little earlier this week, and I mean, it seems very mindless in just going off what you saw last from Auburn. I mean, if you're just going and judging off of the last thing that you've seen from Auburn's football program, it seems like it would be a very easy choice to start TJ Finley coming up this Saturday night for War Eagle. But I know that there's still a lot of speculation on what Harsin is going to do. I'm with Rohan, and Rohan, I think, illustrated it pretty clearly earlier this week. Harsin, if he doesn't name TJ Finley the starter, he potentially could lose his locker room a month into his first year of being the head coach of the program. And look, I haven't covered the program. I've paid attention to the media this week, but I just watched that game last week, and obviously it was a clunker of a football game. It was a terrible game for Auburn start to finish. Nobody could really get into the game, but when TJ was put into the game, there was an infusion of life, not only in the stadium, but on the sidelines, not only with his teammates, but with the assistant coaches. The scene after the game of him waiting on the SEC Network interview on the field and the amount of people that came up to him. It was incredible to see just the impact that he's had on this program in a very short time. And I know that, in sports, when he plays hero, and he was the hero last Saturday when you put him in at the end of the game and he makes the plays to win it for you, that's going to bring you a lot of popularity. But it looked very genuine and sincere of people just kind of coming up to him, banging him on his shoulder pads, hitting him on the back of the head, putting their arm around him, and just felt good for him. Just really looked as if he had put the time in. He had gained the trust of the staff, the coaches, the players, the teammates, the locker room, and he was ready for that moment. And I do wonder, from TJ's standpoint, as he, gets this Thursday morning moving, what the emotions are in his head, thinking on, whether he knows or not if he's starting. I'm sure he does. He may not. But potentially he could be the starter on a Saturday night game in Tiger Stadium, the first one that they've allowed really full capacity. I know that full capacity's been there, but you haven't been interested in being there in a full capacity state until this one, right? I mean, the closer. How'd that poll end up yesterday?
Let's check.
On Twitter, as we polled you and wondering what the environment was going to look like on Saturday.
468 people voted, and 67.9 said yes. 32.1 said no.
Okay.
So the majority.
Yeah.
Well, and look, I side with the poll. I think that there's going to be 103,000 in that place on Saturday night for kickoff. If everything kind of aligns, the weather, everything that kind of goes into the day. No rain.
All these polls, I haven't updated them in a while. Something about AirPods. We got a book club. Pet Mike the Tiger. We haven't looked at any of them. Will Tiger Stadium be full capacity for Auburn 8 p.m.? This is on YouTube. 68% says yes. 32% no. A lot of comments that I'm not going to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
That's
spicy.
Good interaction.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
Was it all political?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, the comments were?
The more that I talk to people around who have been to the game, even some people at LSU, Saturday they might just kind of be like, oh, let's just keep them coming.
They're like that anyway.
Just pull the tickets.
You can't have ESPN do the flyover and have no asses in the seats.
I mean,
this thing's got to be packed to the gills, dude.
No.
We'll spray the vaccine all over. I don't
Yeah,
care.
right.
Whatever. But I'm just saying, whatever LSU has to do to get that thing full, it has to, because that's all LSU really has at this point.
Yeah.
Is the lure of Tiger Stadium, and if that thing's not packed, then you're setting the program back, or just the eyeballs on the program back. I don't know, thousands of years.
Yes, I agree. I think that this is. I mean, don't overthink this.
Don't overthink it.
I mean,
don't make it too hard.
Don't make this too difficult. You know what I mean?
They
In the
don't
sense
anyway. It's been very easy.
Yeah, it's like a speakeasy.
Very,
Don't
very
ask, don't
easy.
tell, just come on in.
It is
if
not
you can
what
find
we
the
thought.
gate, you're in.
Yeah, exactly. If you can flash anything on your phone or any kind of piece of paper, you're in.
I mean, I've read through the first couple of games. I mean, if you write on a cardboard box, I'm vaxxed, you're in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
like,
really are.
Yeah,
the guy holding the sign.
That'll work. You know what I mean? Like, take your I need 2 tickets and flip it around and say, I'm good.
That's exactly what it's
like. All right, good. Come on in.
Just do the old college pass back. Grab somebody's phone, pass it back through the line. You'll be good. You've trained for this moment your whole life.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've all been here before.
Yes, yeah.
We've all tried to get into the premium seats when we weren't welcomed.
Exactly.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Get in touch with our friends over at Go Chevrolet, whether it's Lee Carney, Nick Richard, their entire crew. They got spots in Laplace. They got spots here in Baton Rouge. I know that Laplace still trying to get back down on their feet, get back up on their feet, as they have been through the ringer the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, obviously with the storm, and power's coming back intermittently down there. I know that Go Chevrolet has had power. They've lost power. It seems like they're back up and operating down there with their new car lot in Laplace, Louisiana, and then over here at Go Express Auto Sales. Of course, Go Express Auto Sales on the corner of Florida and Sherwood Forest. Great selection of used car inventory over there at Go Express Auto Sales. You can search everything online at Go Chevrolet, Geaux, Chevrolet.com. Go Chevrolet, proud supporter here of the Jordy Culotta Show. When we come back, we'll talk to John Thompson. John Thompson is one of these resumes in football where He is a lifer, has worked all over the place, has been a head coach at East Carolina, but has been a defensive coordinator all around the SEC and all over college football. He's got great relationships. He's worked with Nick Saban. He's worked with Ed Orgeron. He's worked with all of them. We'll ask him about some of his thoughts early on here of the college football season and going in to the biggest college football weekend that we've experienced here in 2021 coming up, especially in the SEC. I mean, there are some heavyweight fights this week in the Southeastern Conference, and it starts 11 a.m. Saturday morning. This game is, I don't know what to feel about this game because I've heard it spoken on nationally. I'm talking about the Georgia hosting Arkansas 11 a.m. Saturday morning, where Georgia's got a huge number, favored by almost 3 scores, I believe.
18.5.
18.5, so 3 scores. They are favored by 3 scores in that game.
Arkansas is good, though, y'all.
Really good.
I mean,
yeah.
I really do feel like they are.
But they almost feel like they need a wall check, like they're going to run into a wall.
Maybe.
That mean
That Georgia defense
Maybe.
is absurd.
it's stout.
It's as good
and if
as
it
I've
doesn't
ever
have
seen.
KJ Jefferson, if Arkansas does not have KJ Jefferson, they become very one-dimensional.
We need KJ Jefferson at 110%,
Yeah.
not 80%.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, and that might have been the best game he's ever played. When we watched A&M, we're like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Because we've seen flashes, so we might have our hand in the honey trap here. Prisoner of the moment of seeing KJ Jefferson
Possibly.
against A&M, who we
It's a
thought
lot
was
of
good.
points,
That's
bro.
a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, even for a Georgia team. I know that doesn't give
Can't
up
score.
points, and they can. Yeah, right. Have they proven that they can really score the ball to be 18.5-point favorites in an SEC game?
I don't know, y'all.
We're going to ask John Thompson about it. He knows a lot more about football than we do. We'll ask him his thoughts on Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Alabama, and then LSU Auburn come Saturday night. Big weekend of college football coming up. We break it down with defensive mind, defensive genius John Thompson next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Go Chevrolet is
We're not
proud
on
to
the way.
announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Good to see Nick Richard inside of the bunker this morning. Go Chevrolet's own. He's talking a little college football over there inside of the bunker. If you got a vehicle question for him, ask it right there in the bunker. He'll get it answered for you. Shout out to Nick Richard from Go Chevrolet. Stick around. Coming up here, we're going to talk recruiting with Shea Dixon. It'll be an enormous recruiting weekend for LSU. Saturday night, Tiger Stadium, full capacity. First time they've had this opportunity in a while. We'll talk to Shea what they anticipate from a recruit official visit, unofficial visitor list come Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. We'll also talk to Makin Money of Barstool Sports, but always look forward to our conversation with John Thompson, one of the best, man, a great storyteller, a great guy, a fantastic football coach, and his resume really does speak for itself. He's been all over the SEC. He's been a head coach. He's got great football experience, and as we said, he's forgotten more football than we'll probably ever know. In fact, he was hired by Ed Orgeron, who played under Thompson at Northwestern State University, and also served as a defensive coordinator at Southern University. He's been in Alabama, Arkansas. He's worked with everybody. I'm going to get him to tell the story about when him and Nick Saban were on the recruiting trail and he accepted the Arkansas job while they were on a recruiting visit with Saban. Just those two in the car. We'll save that one for the last part of this conversation before we get out of here. But it is a pleasure to welcome in John Thompson to our conversation, back to our conversation here on this Thursday morning. Coach, good morning. Thank you for stopping by.
Oh man, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And hey, some of those things we've blacked out. We don't know about all that.
Right.
And you know how, hey, and most of it is not true. There's a little bit of truth, but there's some. But a lot of good things going on down there in Baton Rouge this weekend, my man. That's going to be fun.
It'll be a great opportunity for the faithful. They hadn't had a chance here in a long time to see Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, and it'll be Auburn in town, TJ Finley starting, LSU's got some momentum. I mean, there are storylines everywhere, Coach. And when you look at this weekend of college football, there are games all over the place. In fact, they got one that starts in your backyard. You're over in Georgia. You living in Atlanta, in a suburb over there. But in Athens, the University of Georgia is going to host Arkansas. Sam Pittman really has this crew believing, and he has created an identity around the Hogs. What has impressed you with Pittman and his program here early on in this 2021 season as they get out the blocks to a 4-0 start with really impressive wins over Texas and Texas A&M?
You know, absolutely, man. And I've known Sam Pittman for quite a while, and he was at Arkansas, you know, earlier with Bielema, and made a big difference there. Then he goes to Georgia, makes a big difference, and comes back. He's got the right recipe at Arkansas. I grew up in Arkansas, and what he's done, you know, more than anything else is that he's brought in some guys. They've got, people don't realize it, but they've got 3 defensive line transfers that have made the biggest difference there, and they are playing so well, and they play hard. They play nasty. And he's mixed in a few Arkansas homegrowns that are playing above their head. And then probably the biggest surprise is how KJ Jefferson, the quarterback, you know, most thought he was an average at best or a bust. He is from South Panola. Ole Miss claims that they only offered him as a tight end. I mean, he's Cam Newton lookalike. He's 6'5", 250. 6'5", 250, and he's throwing the ball really well. But Sam Pittman has got the whole state, you know, feeling good again. It's that's a unique place. There's nothing else of really major interest in that state besides the Razorbacks, and he's got everybody pulling the rope in the same direction. And I think they're going to give the Dogs all they want at a noon game, and which is not really good for Kirby. That doesn't help them at all because of the crowd and the lights. Is kind of similar to Baton Rouge, but I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Trench warfare, you know, an offensive line guru, you know, in Sam Pittman and against Kirby and how they've recruited so well at Georgia. They're next to, you know, Bama and LSU and just getting the talent in, but it's going to be a great fight.
Coach, you are considered a defensive genius inside football circles. When you look at this Georgia defensive group, they seem like they've got them all at every level. They've got pros at every level. What do you see when you see this Georgia defense that Kirby's leading?
Well, I see a big, and first of all, my mother's really the only one that thinks I'm a defensive genius. So, you know, but that's the only one. Well, and you're right. Hey, they just keep putting layer and layer in recruiting, first of all. I mean, obviously everybody understands that, but they've got speed, man, at linebacker. They are really, really good in the secondary, and they play so many guys up front. I mean, they're rotating 12 guys in the defensive front, and there's no, it's not, we're going to put this guy in and hopefully we can get 4 or 5 plays. Just put this guy in, and he mashes people. I had a guy that was recruiting or being recruited by Georgia a few years ago, and then Kirby said, "Hey, we're going to keep the scholarship. We'll keep the scholarship offer to him, but we don't think he can play much. He's probably going to get garbage time." Well, that player ended up, obviously leaving Georgia, and he's starting at Notre Dame right now.
Wow.
So, and leading Notre Dame in tackles. So that kind of tells you a little bit about, about the way they've recruited, and and Kirby. Kirby's involved in everything. Uh-huh. He's in, if you just watch the sidelines, I mean, special teams, offense, defense, he's a little bit involved in everything. And so that's, we'll see what happens. And I think that's going to be the best game of the day. I really do. I think obviously Georgia has a talent advantage, but both of them coming in undefeated, high noon. It'll hurt Georgia a little bit with the game being at noon, but hey, Arkansas is going to give them all they want. I think whichever defense makes the big plays, Georgia's more talented. They have a more talented team. JT Daniels is playing good. I think probably just a little bit better than KJ Jefferson, and that may be the difference. I'll take Georgia in a close one. But I grew up a Hog, so I hate to say it. Maybe since this is in Baton Rouge, I can say it since I live in Atlanta. I'll be pulling for those Hogs. And it is just really good to see what a culture change. People use that all the time. But it's a true culture change that Sam Pittman has done for the whole state. Yeah. I mean, for the entire state. And it's just really cool, what's going on there. And it's good for the people of Arkansas.
Yeah, you can feel it all over the conference. You can feel the Arkansas fan base really getting behind Pittman and what he's doing up there with the program. And I'm really looking forward. What a treat for the Central Standard Time Zone of an 11 a.m. kick between the hedges between Georgia and Arkansas. That'll be a great start to a wonderful college football slate of games, including over in Tuscaloosa, Alabama and Ole Miss. This was a classic last season. You know Nick Saban very well. Lane Kiffin is probably the best offensive play caller in college football. He is going in there with some confidence after the way they played last year in a bye week to get prepared here for Saban and the Tide. How do you like this game about 48 hours out from kickoff?
And Lane's definitely the factor in that game. Ole Miss is scoring so many points, man. They're averaging 52 points a game. But Austin Peay, a pretty good Tulane team and a good Louisville team. So they've had good tune-ups in there. I look at that as Corral, the quarterback at Ole Miss, really being the wild card in this. He can do so many things, but he's I think he's got the same kind of personality that Lane has. You don't know what's going to happen from that guy. Right. So it could really be crazy, but, Bryce Young for Alabama is playing so good. When you look at Alabama's offensive line compared to Ole Miss's defensive line, it's not even close there. The quarterback situation, I think Bryce Young, if I was drafting, you got to take Bryce Young over the wild card Corral, but I'd love to watch Corral play, but sure. I really think I think Saban goes 24-0 versus the assistants. I think it. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as people think. You got to think that Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator at Alabama, uses tempo, but they also run some clock and they get some frustration. They've got to get that Ole Miss offense out of sync, and running the clock is one way to do it. Obviously, getting off the field on third downs, but I just think between O'Brien and Saban, they'll frustrate Kiffin in the game, and Alabama wins comfortable. I think couple scores at least.
Coach, is the bye week overblown, or is it an advantage for Kiffin to have that extra week of preparation?
Well, the extra week of getting some bumps and bruises, that's the healed up. That's the best thing about an open day. Yeah, you can use some time, but you've got a formula that you go through and you watch the games and you prepare that way. I never thought that was the biggest key, but getting your players rested. I mean, you can still practice, but you don't have to hit all the time. You don't have to cram everything in. You know, it's so much better when you have time. Man, I always thought as a coach, if the games were 10 days apart, it would be awesome. Because when you come in after, you're worn out on a Sunday after a Saturday game. I always felt like I'd been in a major car wreck. And it just takes a little while from emotionally, coaches and players. Well, that's where Ole Miss has been able to, they'll be able to rev back up, and Alabama's just got to turn around and keep going. But I think they got the best guy in the business that probably keeps the thumb on them and keeps them going.
You have worked with him. Can you give a little insight on how he continuously stays as driven and motivated as he does? I mean, he seems as if he's as motivated now as when you guys were working together back in 2000.
Yeah, he'll keep his thumb on everything, on every pulse. I mean, weight room, equipment room. I mean, everything. He'll make sure, and he'll keep everybody on edge.
Yeah.
And you're, and I hate to say that like that, but you're aware of what you got to do. And if you don't do it, then all hell's going to break loose, and it's usually going to be in front of a lot of people. And the fear factor is there. I hate to use that word, but he uses that for motivation as much as anything with the staff and with the players. So, and they talk about the process with him, but it's methodical, but you're going to forget what happened before. You got to be at your best every single minute. There's not going to be, like we talked about, taking a break, Ole Miss taking a break and kind of catching their breath. You're not going to catch, you need oxygen all the time with Nick. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to, you're not going to be able to catch your breath at all.
Hopefully Auburn is not able to catch their breath Saturday night in front of a full-capacity Tiger Stadium at 8 o'clock under the lights in pitch black darkness in South Louisiana. Can you talk to us about that environment from a coaching standpoint, and then how you anticipate that game playing out between first-year head coach Brian Harsin and Coach Ed Orgeron's program that seem to be looking for a very good win in conference to get them up and moving?
Well, there's so much turmoil down on the plains at Auburn. I mean, I worked for Brian Harsin at Arkansas State, and I think he's a really good coach, but he's finding out that there's a lot of ex-coaches and people with their fingers in the pie down at Auburn. I mean, and that's really, you could ask Gus Malzahn about that. But the biggest thing that throws me off, in talking to a couple of buddies that, they fired their they fired their wide receiver coach. And when you do that publicly, you crush a guy's career. I mean, here it is, the third, fourth game of the season. We're still in September today, at least, maybe. But when that happens, but you look behind the scenes a little bit, he elevated an analyst. Everybody said, okay, so what? But you got Steve and Bill Johnson that were analysts. Right. At LSU, but this guy was the offensive coordinator at Boise, and there's a lot of connections with Boise, and I'm sure the Auburn, that doesn't sit that well with the Auburn people, so he's going to have to come out and get the job done. And it's it was such a horrible loss for Georgia State last week, and that wasn't a good win for Auburn. Georgia State whipped them. Mm-hmm. They whipped them, and the worst loss of my career. Alabama beat us in either '96 or '97. I was at Southern Miss. I fell on. They beat us with a Hail Mary. I can see the ball. It's still with me. Oof. But it's that if Auburn's got to come through that, and who knows what's happening with that offensive staff. I mean, Mike Bobo is allegedly the coordinator, but now they got the coordinator from Boise. So you just don't know about that. But I look at it like this, that I mean, Auburn, the only chance Auburn has, in my opinion, is running the football. They got a bunch of seniors in the offensive line, but they're not as good in the defensive line, and they're definitely below average in the secondary. So LSU's more talented everywhere, and I just think Max Johnson will be the difference. And Auburn secondary has got to hang in there and not give up the big play, and I don't see that. I see Bebe and the boys taking this one and winning it comfortably.
So you've liked how you've seen Max Johnson progress here through his second season. I mean, that was only his sixth start last weekend.
I know, you know, I'm coaching high school football here. Max was a sophomore in high school, probably 2017, and we played his high school team in the playoffs, and he was good, but he was a sophomore in high school at the time. I will say we did shut him out, but he was good. He was really good. And, yeah, I think he's really progressed. I mean, obviously his lineage and the background and the football, you know, all that goes into that. No, I think he's playing very, very well. He looks poised. He's getting rid of the football at times. He doesn't look like any of that is shaking him up. And, you know, that's the problem that's happened at Auburn. You got the complete opposite at Auburn with Finley starting, coming back, and all the things going on with that. It's just it just looks like a mess at Auburn, and I don't think they can get it fixed. Rolling into Baton Rouge when you got everybody blocking your way when you're coming in, rocking your bus, and, you know, giving you the number one sign.
That's right.
You know,
right. From the middle of the
saying
hand.
you're number one, just like Eli did the other night on the TV. They're giving you the number one sign coming in there.
That's so good. Coach, LSU's got a stand-up defensive end, B.J. Ojulari, who was at one point leading the country in sacks out of the state of Georgia. You mentioned Max Johnson, their starting quarterback, is from the state of Georgia. Jake Johnson, the number one tight end in the country, is coming to LSU out of the state of Georgia next season. You were a defensive coordinator. You were roaming the sidelines on Friday night. How good is the talent in that state every week?
You know, it's really unbelievable. It's spread out across, and the one thing, there's a lot of transfers going on here in Georgia to a lot of schools. I mean, it's amazing that these families find these really good programs and there's jobs there. I mean, they find their really good jobs with good programs. So that keeps going on. There's a lot of infighting going on with some private schools and all that. But that being said, there is so much talent there, and it is across the board. The coaching is good, but I mean, when you got you just look back at last year. You look back at Garcia that transfers from California. He's ineligible at Valdosta, and then he goes to Grayson. You know, that's it's just good for the parents that they find good jobs wherever. But there's a lot of
happy for them.
That's right.
Yeah, it helps our economy. It's good for the economy, and it's good for the unemployed.
That's right. Coach, you're talking about the high school talent. One on the way out here, and we appreciate you're such a great storyteller. For our people out there, you mentioned that you were an Arkansas native. You were also on Nick Saban's first staff in Baton Rouge at LSU back in 2000. You and him are on some back roads in Louisiana recruiting, and the phone rings offering you the Arkansas job. You take over.
Well, you know, a lot of that is kind of true. I'm from Arkansas. Arkansas was my dream job. But first of all, I was very thankful for Nick Saban. I was there for a month, and I learned a lot of football in that short month, but we were just recruiting. That story gets mixed up a little bit. We were actually in the suburbs of Marksville, Louisiana.
Okay. Avoyles Parish.
You know, the suburbs.
Yes.
The suburbs.
The suburbs.
We were trying to find Chad Lavallee's house. And it was on a one street up and down the road. And I was not driving. Let me just say that. But we were going up and down the road, and Coach Saban got a little agitated. And he really got on the guy that was driving. He did not kick me out of the car.
Okay.
We did not get in a fight. and we got Chad Lavallee. That was the whole deal. And it was the greatest recruiting that I've ever seen. Nick was down in a stance. We had a great visit.
Wow.
But the guy from Alexandria that was driving us, he took the heat. And then that kind of gets, I mean, I was trying to climb out the back. I was sitting in the back seat, and the guy asked Nick a question that he shouldn't have asked him. I mean, as soon as he asked him, I'm looking for the door. I'm ready to tumble out of the car. And Nick and Coach Saban goes off on the guy. And it was really, really, really bad for everybody. I'm trying to, change the subject, trying to call. Nick ain't having nothing for it. So, but anyway, we never got in any kind of a fight. I'm not saying that he didn't say some things that when he was unhappy, it was just the time. And it was January the 2nd that I left. And I went back to, I mean, who leaves LSU for Arkansas?
Right.
There's probably only been one in the history of mankind. But I was from Arkansas and did that, and I don't think Coach Saban really understood that at the time. And I'm not sure I understand it now, but I thought it was the right thing to do at the time.
Sure.
So anyway, but it was a blessing to be at LSU for that time. And Nick, he gets so many stories that are exaggerated, and there's still some more that people don't even know that are even worse. So anyway, it was a great experience. And we're friends again now, and we've talked, and it's all good. No problem.
Coach, when you were an interim, you were 1-0 in bowl games. Are you the greatest bowl game coach of all time, winning the GoDaddy?
Well, 2. Okay,
2-0.
I'm 2-0.
2013,
Man.
2014.
Okay, I'm 2-0. But please don't go back and research my record when I was at East Carolina. Let's just go interim. Let's just go interim. I'm tied for at least the best of interim head coaches there, but not so good. And when you don't have a quarterback, and I think with the games we talked about, obviously we mentioned the quarterbacks, and all of these as being the key.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that you take every game that you go into, and if you trade the quarterbacks on the team, just trade the quarterbacks, look at how many games could be altered by that. Mm-hmm. I mean, just look at it, and it's and I'm using that as an excuse, obviously, back in the day at East Carolina. But I learned a huge lesson then. Don't take a job if you don't have a quarterback. So all of these guys have quarterbacks, and I learned a lot then, in my short time at LSU, and was happy to be there.
Incredible time here with John Thompson this morning. We always appreciate his time sharing some stories and insight. Coach, enjoy this college football weekend. We didn't even talk about Florida and Kentucky. That's going to be a sneaky good game in the conference as well.
I think it will too. Definitely. Mark Stoops has done done a great job there, and obviously the Gators trying to find a quarterback also, trying to get what they're doing. But it's going to be a great day. You don't have to do a lot of flipping this week. Right. You just turn it on at noon, and you got 3 great games, and it'll be great coaches and awesome players. So a lot of storylines.
Good luck on Friday night. Enjoy Saturday. Thank you for the time this morning. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I always love it. I appreciate you. And thanks for that early morning call to get me fired up, man.
Always. You got an open invite. Tell our boy Rock Lee we say hello.
Oh, I will.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. He loved the guy.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Yes, sir.
See you, man.
Rock Lee is my childhood best friend who lives out in Alpharetta. They live in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. And he is who he put me in touch with John Thompson. I think they share the same coffee shop, and they sit down and have some stories. And Rock looked up one day and said, I think John Thompson, the former defensive coordinator everywhere, is the guy at my coffee shop. And I mean, you want me to try to get him on the show? I was like, hell yeah.
I mean, great stories.
And he's an incredible storyteller.
Yeah. Well, Whitney was in the bunker saying, why hasn't he written a book?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly
Well, he's
right.
not out of it yet.
No,
You got to be completely out of coaching before you write your book.
Prologue, the high school years.
That's right. His Saban stories are incredible, whether it's battling him in recruiting or being on recruiting visits with him.
Could you imagine being that kid driving the car?
Oh gosh.
Because if you're lost back then, there's no way to find your way.
God.
You have a map out. There's no phone.
Yes.
There's no.
You're stopping at like payphones.
With Nick Saban in the car, he's like, I got to recruit right now.
Yeah.
Chad Lavalley is waiting for me, and I need to go get him. And you got some kid from Alexandria. I wonder who it is.
Yeah.
I could
You can find that out, Lloyd.
Yeah, I'm sure they're just like, no, never happened. Blocked it out of my brain, dude.
Johnson Spillers is our dentist here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, get in touch with Johnson Spillers online, johnsonspillers.com. Dr. Chad Spillers and Dr. Johnson out there in Gonzales, in Baton Rouge, here in Baton Rouge on Perkins Road in between Bluebonnet and Segan is where you can find them. All general dentistry can be handled over there at Johnson Spillers. They can also help you out with pediatric dentistry. Look them up online, johnsonspillers.com. I am a very happy patient of Johnson Spillers. In fact, got to get back over there here in the next couple of weeks to the next part of the process.
Are you
I
there?
feel like it's taken. I feel like you're good. Like
I'm just waiting on their call.
It settled right back in.
You know what I
I don't
mean?
think we're qualified to make that decision on if the tooth is good or not.
Feels
yet,
good, though.
right? It feels good.
Feels good.
Real food?
I mean, real food. I'm going, like front teeth first, which is very discouraged by Dr. Spillers.
What are you
It's in
eating,
there,
like
though, it's
apples
set.
every day?
No apples.
You probably can never eat
no
a bite
apples.
into an
But I mean,
apple
like
again.
French bread. Like he was like, I don't know if I'd eat a po' boy, bro. You know what I mean?
that
Watch
theory
yourself on a
immediately.
burger.
Do you eat bread?
Oh yeah, Italian,
me.
That's
Paisan.
right, that's
Yeah,
you.
it's a vein. It's the vein one over there.
I did see caught myself. These pictures that
my
are coming
God.
out. I looked into getting like one of those jaw exercises. This
Stop
double chin is
Oh,
coming in.
Lloyd,
I don't even know how. I'm doing the same thing I've always done.
Yeah.
Oh, Lloyd.
Might be tailgate. I don't even eat it at the tailgate. I don't know what it is. I'm
Lloyd.
gonna put my finger on it. I'm
The
figuring
sugar
it
and
out.
the drinking.
The sugar. I do eat some candy. It's these gummies.
You're gonna
And
make
the
it worse,
drinking.
Jordy.
Tom.
He's gonna stop eating. Lily's gonna be mad at
I
him.
do fast. Eat soup for dinner.
All right, so we're good stuff with John Thompson. Shea Dixon is coming up here in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll talk to him about recruiting. It is a huge recruiting weekend as LSU will be hosting some unofficials, some official visitors. They've got the big 5-star defensive end out of Tacoma, Washington, who is coming down on Saturday. And
Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins is going to be here, who is the 5-star linebacker out of Texas. I'm trying to find the guy's name from Tacoma, Washington.
They're in for some fun Louisiana October weather.
What's the weather
just
going to be
like
like on
fall.
Saturday?
Humid.
Yeah. Is it supposed to rain?
I don't think so. I think there's like a small chance. I mean, if
Yeah.
it would stop raining now, it wouldn't be so wet out there.
I
but-
mean, the
This
rain.
gets back
I
to
know.
my theory.
The
Our
rain.
theory.
The
Why aren't we
rain.
turfing this field? Keep
I know.
that thing
LSU?
pristine. Yes. There's
That's
no reason to let it
such a
just get
debate.
why?
Such a
why
debate.
is it such a debate?
Well, I mean, it's
What's the drawback?
the drawback is just the history, the natural grass.
No, not turf. I said tarp.
Oh, tarp.
I would
Oh.
never turf the field.
Tarp.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I was
Why don't
about
we
to
cover-
say, bro.
No, dude, I would never.
My
Lloyd,
God.
you didn't strike me as a turf
No,
guy.
not at all.
Okay,
Natural grass
okay.
till I die.
Okay. Yeah,
Bury
absolutely.
me in it.
Absolutely.
Wait, so why not tarp it then?
I don't know.
What's the big deal with the tarp? That's not changing anything.
There's too much tarp, is what I've heard. It's too hard to cover that large of a field, which doesn't
But
make
people
any
do
sense.
it.
There's so
People
much.
tarp fields.
People tarp
People
baseball
tarp
fields
baseball.
all
They
the
tarp
time.
baseball
Yeah.
fields, but they just do the infield.
Right.
They just do the dirt.
Yeah, well, we tarp the
There's got to
outfield.
be some football fields that get fully tarped, right?
I can't think of
There
one that
has
does.
to
I'm-
be.
I'm
Somebody in the bunker. Come on.
I'm sitting here thinking on.
It's tarp or turf.
Really?
Well, it's no tarp or
No
turf.
tarp.
Right,
or
yeah,
turf.
no
Yes,
tarp or
no
turf.
tarp or turf.
So,
Yes.
God, I mean, wouldn't it be less expensive to tarp? To have a tarp?
If LSU ever goes turf, I don't know what I would think.
I'd hate it.
I would hate it. Like, I don't. My eyes, they
Yeah.
can't handle it.
I'm not
Why
doing
is
that.
that such a big
Oh,
deal?
just you have to get
Okay.
out there and feel it and breathe it
Right,
natural.
right,
It's just right. It's the way football's supposed to be played.
I agree.
College football.
All of them.
All of it.
I wish they had grass inside domes.
I mean, Arizona does.
Right. They roll that thing out.
Yeah.
Roll it back in.
I mean, you have to be in that type of climate where you could have that type of ability to roll the track of grass out and
And the money.
keep it in the yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, man. All natural grass
Because
forever.
sloppy track does not bode well for LSU, right? Because Auburn's going to be able to. They're going to come in here wanting to run the football. LSU is going to come in here wanting to throw it around. I'd imagine if it's sloppy, wet, God forbid, raining, like that's advantage Auburn in my mind.
Team Tarp. Team tarp.
Let's get this thing going.
For sure.
I mean, why not?
That is incredible that they don't tarp football fields when you think about it.
It's like they've never thought about it.
I mean, especially that they're turtle backed. So I mean, if you did tarp it, I mean, the water would roll off. Look at Lloyd. Every now and again, you'll fall on something, Lizzie.
And then I just gave it away to the public.
Yeah.
But if I see it, I'll be happy. That's the free one. $1 billion.
Hop inside of the bunker if you have a recruiting question. Yeah, put a poll up. Turf or tarp.
Just a big
Turf or tarp.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Recount some of those polls for me, Lizzie.
Let's go. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Let me know how we're looking over there. Remember, we're driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every day here. Falaya Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate here in 2021, it's different. That's because of Falaya. They have got a lot of different stuff happening over there. Barrett Blondo and his team over at Falaya have changed the way that real estate is bought and sold here in the capital city. You can get in touch with them online at falaya.com. When using Falaya's services, you'll get exposure on MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, all the major sites. That includes virtual tours, push-button offers. Falaya is selling your house by yourself. You can save thousands. It's do-it-yourself for selling your house. Welcome to the days of empowered real estate, people. Log online to Falaya.com or simply download the Falaya app today inside your Google or Apple stores. Online at Falaya.com. Call our friend Barrett Blondo. 939-6153, 225-939-6153. So we're moving forward on changing over the studio. I know I've not consulted anybody on this.
I mean, we're so shocked here.
Yes.
I love how you're just announcing this
I know.
to us live.
I know. I understand that this
happening?
this is leadership gone bad within the Jordy Culotta show. I've taken this and gone less miles. I know I have.
Selfish.
It is very selfish. But we're doing this, and I think that we should auction off the couch and the chair.
Jordy, not the chair.
I think that we should. I think that we should make some money off the chair.
This is going to be our third rebrand.
I just recreated
Well,
a new
you know
logo
what?
with the chair.
I should have gone to the chiropractor. Blame it on Scott LeBlanc. If you're looking,
sponsor.
If you're looking for a blame, not yet. Once we build this set, Scotty, I'm coming to see you, bro.
We gotta keep the chair. We can
I'll
get
sit
rid
in
of the
the
couch.
chair.
We can get rid of the couch. The chair can be for guests or to rest in. You know, it's the vibe.
It has to stay.
I feel like we shouldn't argue about this on our live show.
This is how the show is.
This should be a private discussion for us.
No, there's no discussion about it. It's happening. There's no discussion about it. I mean, sitting is the new smoking.
No, I
and
agree.
doctors have not told us about that. We are killing ourselves right now sitting down.
I want to stand up. I just don't want to get rid of the chair. Like, I want it to still be part of us.
Tight squeeze in here. A tight squeeze in here, especially with the new stand-up desk.
The chair over here.
What are the new desks? Tell us.
Well, there's not new desk; it's a new set, and it's going to be it's going to be a stand-up model here. We'll have, just very similar to the look here. It would just be in. I guess we'd go the retro fit.
Okay.
With the paneling.
Gonna go like a Cheers
leave a spot in the front for our ads to run. Whether it's on a flat screen television or some type of lighting here in the front that we're flashing our supporters and sponsors. Behind the desk, you'll have a stand-up stool if you want to rest. Only you'll have to just squat down a couple of inches. You won't have to go full
Who sold
squat.
you on this?
Scott
Who sold
LeBlanc,
this vision?
the chiropractor.
He's an interior decorator also?
Oh, no, he didn't sell me on the set design, but I just got to thinking after our conversation, how could I remedy my curving neck and back?
You could just stretch in your off time. It's only 2 hours. Just
Scott
do a couple.
Oldham in the bunker said, I feel like we're having to watch our parents fight right now.
There's no fight here, Scott. Nobody's fighting. This is just a discussion.
No, it's not a debate, but it's certainly a
I
fight.
feel like you're only springing this on us when we're
During
live.
the show.
So that we did this yesterday too, and then there's no discussion afterwards. You leave
Yes, there's no discussion.
The best part is there's still a chance for Jordy to go Jordy and just be like, kind of fuck it. I don't want to do that anymore. Because if they can't do it in a weekend.
No, I'm on Rhett, dude. I am on Rhett. Have you got my design? What's it look like? If you send over, give me some visuals, bro. Do you need me to draw them of what I'm thinking?
Can you do that?
I'm trying to get this done by the middle of conference play, by the middle of October.
go Pokes, we lose the Stingley jerseys. No, we are not going to lose any of our stuff.
You
no,
crazy?
No.
We would like to do a redesign back here. I'd like to lose all wood paneling back here in the sense of I want to cover it up with all of our memorabilia.
Yeah,
we've got stuff on the cutting room floor back here that I'd love to show off.
Yep.
The Clapp jersey has gone to the second team, which he does not deserve to do. He's always been a starter at the Jordy Culotta show. For whatever reason, he's been bumped to the second team without explanation. He's been coming into the office wanting to know where his playing time has gone. I've got nothing to tell him, no straight face. I blame it on Katie and Lloyd.
They got rid of the wedge. You can play special teams, and we can't use you.
And this is really a money year for Clapper.
It really is.
I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, the Harvey Williams sits over there. We've got a Justin Jefferson signed Vikings jersey inside that is yet to see the light of day here. We've got an Alvin Kamara signed jersey from a good friend of ours.
Yeah, we need to put a little lipstick on this pig.
Yes, I mean, it needs upgrading, and it needs more than anything stand-up desk and design.
What's the timetable on that? You said middle of conference play. How's he going to come in here in one weekend and knock it out while we're here on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
If I'm a carpenter, that's not that big of a project to me. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, Jesus.
I mean, if I'm a woodmaker, you know what I mean?
Dream.
If I'm good with my hands and somebody just simply said, I need an 8-foot stand-up desk, that does not seem like a project that would run me a month.
I thought it was going to be we should do like a wraparound bar scene, like Cheers, to where it's, keep the same vibe, but the TV,
We're not taking
front.
recommendations here.
I don't think he's taking your recommendations.
But yes, it does have that type of feel. I mean, we're going to come out and then back in across here. I mean, we're not.
Doesn't seem hard at all.
No, I mean, and plus you'll open up the room.
We will open up the room.
You'll open up the room a little bit more.
I am with you on.
I mean, it's a little tight in here.
It is.
Speaking of that, tomorrow, Saturday, it looks like we're going to. What's the poll question?
He's like, don't waste your damn skills on it.
Even if that poll gets slaughtered, the set is being redesigned next week.
Dang, next week now. All right.
Come Saturday, we will be out at LSU. We're going to be at the Party Box. Do we not want to promote this? Do we not want to? We don't want to do that just yet.
I mean, the words are you can't put.
Yes, but I mean, nobody knows where the Party Box is. You know what I mean? Really and truly.
Yeah. If you see a show going on, stop by.
So here's our deal. I think we shed the going live portion of it, like the streaming live portion of it, because we'll have a live audience captivated at the Party Box, which I believe we just plug into a speaker and just do a show there, where we've got me and we've got the driver of the whole thing, Rohan.
Right.
We're pitching a couple of questions too. We're getting content. People are going to be walking by. We bring them in. We do an hour and a half, and then we upload that content for people to breathe on and let it see. Let them see how it looked. The first part. We will have no post game show for you on Saturday night. We are not staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning to do a post game. We're going to be up, but we are not going to be reacting to the game. We'll have much reaction for you on Sunday, and we'll have a pregame presence on Saturday. It's a beautiful part about being independent and owning your own product. You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
The hell you want.
If you do stop by, if you know where it is, there's wristbands for food and drinks. If you're into that sort of thing, they'll have a little music and then the live show. Yeah, so you got to get a wristband. I think it's like $15, but it's all you can eat and drink. And if Rohan's bringing some jerk chicken, I know he's interested in doing something like that. So it could be a very festive environment, I'd imagine, to get you ready for Auburn at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. I think that is undebatable at this point. Anybody trying to sell me that it's not going to be full capacity or it's going to be a watered down crowd, I ain't buying it. I just ain't doing it. I'm not buying it, man. I just think that this is you've waited too long for
2 years.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like this has been 2 years in the making, and the first time out of the chute in 2 years, you got a night game against a Western Division rival with a Louisiana kid starting at quarterback.
You couldn't script it
a former
any better.
LSU player starting at quarterback. I mean, what else you need?
I know.
If this doesn't get you going, you don't really love it. You know what I mean? Like, sell your tickets. Sell your parking pass. I mean, you're not in it.
That's what we've been trying to say. It's like if you could pick one game this year, this is set up to be the game that you would pick. Nothing really bad has happened SEC-wise, so you're still in the hunt in that regard. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, they lost one game to But that seems like eons ago. The loss to UCLA. You're coming in, you're riding a little winning streak, you get a win against Mississippi State. Like, it's all building up to where you would want to be in Tiger Stadium at this point, regardless of how they started.
Cajun Ready Mix brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, you can find Cajun Ready Mix online at CajunRMC.com. You need concrete for residential, commercial, industrial, and municipal projects, then Cajun Ready Mix is ready for you. They got 9 state-certified plants to service the greater Baton Rouge area and all major outlying cities. That means that Cajun Ready Mix Concrete can have their delivery, your delivery, to you on time to the exact specifications. High-quality products, grade A equipment. They've got clear safety standards. They are the standard within the concrete industry. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, online at CajunRMC.com. Cajun Ready Mix provides ready mix concrete products and services to meet all of your concrete needs. Online at CajunRMC.com. Couple of people inside of the chat. We appreciate that very much. Make sure you like, share, comment on the chat, whether it's Facebook, whether it is YouTube, whether it is JordyCulottaShow.com. Please interact with us. We appreciate that very much, as it'll be good to see everything going on out at LSU this weekend. Coach Orgeron was speaking a little bit last night, which we reacted to earlier on in the show. It looks like Derek Stingley Jr. is up in Green Bay, up at Lambeau Field, and if you were paying attention, it's been a foot injury that has been plaguing Stingley. Many believe that there is a possibility of a Liz Frank injury, which is kind of the bottom of the foot. I don't know the details on the medical and what Liz Frank means, but I mean, we've heard that term within athletics, specifically inside of football, on foot injuries. And the Liz Frank specialist, the top Liz Frank consultant medical professional in the world, according to a lot of reports, is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And that is where Derek Stingley was yesterday, getting an evaluation on his current injury and with a status update to follow. I'm not sure when that will come, but if you were following him on social media, you saw him yesterday. He was outside of Lambeau Field, and that's what he was doing. He was up there meeting with a foot specialist and trying to determine what more he can do to get on the field. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that we've seen the last of Derek Stingley Jr. in purple and gold. I mentioned that at John Emery's case a couple of minutes ago when we were debating that in the first hour. You hate for Emery yesterday, the news that came out of the NCAA where his appeal was denied on academic and eligibility, and where his status is sat for the last couple of weeks or months. And I believe that you'll never see John Emery in an LSU helmet ever again. Just because I don't know why. I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would take those hits for free. I know he can get paid at the college level because he can make nowhere near the amount of money he could at the next level, potentially toting the football if he just jumped aboard now, especially after yesterday's hearing. And like I said, you're selling to the next level that I'm a fresh back. I mean, I'm fresh. I run sub 4.5. I'm highly skilled and athletic. I can catch the ball out of the backfield. I can do multiple things for you, and I've got a lot of tread on the tire. And to me, I think that's a better sell than trying to come back and fight with LSU compliance and the NCAA committee on infractions and dealing with all that stuff. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, for him to return to school. In the same sense, if Derek Stingley Jr. gets negative news from this last visit with the medical professionals up in Green Bay, I doubt you see him dress out again at LSU.
So LSU has lost 2 5-stars.
Were they in the same recruiting class? They were in the same class.
That's what I was about to say. From the same recruiting class, the number 1 running back in the country, the number 1 corner in the country.
It's crazy, right?
At some point, you got to toss your hands up. Be like, look, I recruited the guys, and I couldn't keep him healthy. Yeah. But you could even say from Stingley's case, he couldn't really stay healthy. He's had, outside of his freshman year where he was phenomenal, and that's really what people go back to and watch whenever you think of him. But he was a little banged up his sophomore year, and then for this to happen his junior year, and then for the same thing to happen to Emery where he just came and play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just, you can't call them swing and misses, but you would expect to have 2 5-star guys on offense and defense whenever the class came in. you're like, oh, we're set for 3 years with these guys.
For sure.
And you never really got to see their full potential. It just,
I mean, really, from Emery's standpoint, he came here with little expectation in his first year as a 5-star guy. You rarely see that, especially at the running back position, because it's not saying that it's an easy transition from high school to college, but it is a easier transition than others. The hardest part to play running back at the next level that you have to adjust to is pass protection. Once you can get pass protection, you can pretty much get on the field. John Emery didn't come in here with the expectation of he had to play. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the back on that team. He was the bell cow. He was the alpha. He was the guy that was going to start. And it became very evident quickly that he was going to tote the entire load all season long. They got spot play from guys like TDP, who was a freshman.
Chris Curry.
In that class, Chris Curry got some spot time. John Emery saw a little bit of time throughout. But you can go back to John Emery's life at college football at LSU, and you can pinpoint where either his confidence was shook or you knew it was going to be a long road for him. Go back to the Florida game 2019 under the lights. He comes in right before the half, right before intermission. He comes in the second quarter on a drive, and he's back there, and he runs the wrong route out of the backfield. He's either supposed to protect or he's supposed to run another route, and they show Burrow perfectly on the television camera, and Burrow says to the sidelines, "Get this guy the bleep out of here." He says, "Get him the fuck out of here," on TV.
Wow.
And you never see John Emery again.
Well, I believe it was a screen pass to Emery, and he went to block and pass
That's
protection.
right. He
and
did.
Never went out for a
He
screen.
did the polar opposite wrong thing of what he was supposed to do. Whether he was supposed to go out on a route and protect it, or whether he was supposed to protect and went on a route, he did something that was just egregiously wrong.
Untenable for Joe Burrow.
And Burrow didn't look at Emery, wasn't pissed off at Emery, because Emery kind of gave him the look like the pat on the and Burrow's personality, people like with Burrow's they don't play that stuff. We told you about Adam Miller a couple of weeks back when telling the story of pickup basketball over at the practice facility, when his pickup team had a chance to win the game at the end, and the player with the ball on his team let the clock expire with the ball in his hand without getting up a shot, and they lost by 1 in a pickup game in practice 2 months before the season started. And Adam Miller took the ball out of his hand, fired it up against the wall, and after the player said, "My bad, my fault," and said, "I got no effing time for my bad, bro." I mean, I'm not here for my fault. You know what I mean? Either get it right or get the F out of here. And that player has since transferred.
Is it time to call Megan?
That player has since left the program. No, Megan's 8:30.
Oh, I thought she was 8:15. Someone 8:15?
This conversation.
No. Kevin Lewis sent us an email. Thanks, Kevin. I guess you're listening in the bunker. It's a link to Go 24/7. Do football teams use tarps to protect the field? And Shea Dixon provided the answer. Now, this is from 2015, so things have probably changed. But
what a hot debate.
Shea says, I've never seen that. The fields are built pretty well, so they drain nicely. LSU was all puddles when it really, really started pouring before the WKU game, but it ended up being fine. So apparently this has been a question for a while.
They spend a ton of money on drainage.
Yes, they
Football
do.
Fields spend a ton of money. I want to say that Notre Dame actually has like a
sub-air system underneath the field to suck
Soldier
it out.
Field
Yeah.
has like a heater under the field.
That's for the ice.
To melt the ice. Right. Lambeau Field in Green Bay has something very similar to that. So there is a ton of equity money that is spent on the drainage system and drying these fields. I get that. And LSU has overhauled their turf, their field, almost every year. I believe they changed the turf. I know when Bayou Country Superfest was here, it was in the contract that they had to replace the turf every year. They were replacing it. And at one off season, they dug up the entire field and redid the drainage, redid the piping, the spring, all the stuff that runs underneth it.
Yeah, I think they recently did.
This is all new grass this year.
Yes, every year you get new sod, I believe.
Wow.
Man,
but you would think with that type of investment, that type of attention,
Could have been a piece of plastic.
that simply we just go get us a piece of tarp and just roll this thing out if there's a threat of rain. And even though we've got the drainage, we've got the turtleback, we've got all of that in place, let's just take another step.
It does seem
You know what I
like
mean?
that.
If we're going to spend the millions on this, let's get the $10,000 tarp. You know what I mean?
First
Like,
one.
let's
like-
get the 100-yard, $10,000 tarp. That, I mean, really, you've got the personnel and staff to roll this thing out and roll this thing up with enough time to kick this thing off, right? I mean,
I would imagine.
you would think so.
It's like us trying to decide if we should stream this. We're like, yesterday, why don't we just do a live show? It's like, oh, that makes it so much easier, as opposed to spending the money on trying to do a live show from the tailgate with a live stream. It's like, why don't we just do a live show and get a speaker? It's like, oh, we probably should have done that. This should have been our first thought.
Yeah.
But I got a text from my dad, who's much smarter than I am. He says that it'll kill the grass.
There you go. That is probably true.
But what if you elevate it? Like, those linemen that go under those drills? You have to, stay low.
Yeah, I thought they were
What if
elevated.
They just
Like, aren't
elevated
they on
a
like
little
a
bit?
roll thing that?
You're still not getting the sunshine.
We
I
just
know,
roll
but
it
how
back.
long do you leave a tarp
Yeah,
on?
you
You
just
just leave
when
it through
it's
the
raining
storm,
extremely
right?
hard, you roll it out, and then you roll it back up.
I don't know this.
A little manpower.
I don't know this. I'm just still really kind of shocked that they don't have a tarp.
Clearly, they have reasons why.
Yes.
We don't know.
I
the
don't think they
reasons.
thought of it.
No, they've had
They
to.
definitely have not thought of it.
They've had to have. I mean, with
Yes,
as
they have.
many things. I mean, they cut the grass over there with scissors, for God's sakes. I mean, they have thought about how we protect this place even more.
Yeah.
If there is, I mean, crazy as they are about. I mean, they wanted to kill people when they stuck in. when people were sneaking in, like driving ATVs on that.
Yes.
I mean, that guy wanted to like have. He wanted to kill somebody.
Draw and quarter him.
Yeah, I mean, so it'll be interesting to see what
It is too
With the
easy to
weather.
get in there.
it was for a while. I don't know if it is
Is
anymore.
it? I've never tried.
I mean, back when
I'm sure
we
you've been to Mississippi State
back
50-yard
when
line.
back
Yeah.
when we were in college, bro, you could just like jump a gate.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
I mean,
how
it was
for a
as
while.
simply as like just kind of like pushing a fence and being like, "Whoa, this one's open."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's the fake lock.
Just
like the
walk out
padlock,
there.
But it's not clicked. You're just like, oh, let me just get on through here real quick.
I remember we snuck in there like the night before an opening game, and we were all taking a leak on the 50, and somebody came out, yeah, like leaving the
Jordy.
bar. Yeah,
Why-
college kids, bro. College
Was
kids.
the logo painted?
Yeah, I mean, it was 24 hours before kickoff. I mean, it was like 10 hours before
Are you
kickoff.
peed on it, like on the logo?
We're just young, dumb, stupid. What can we do to say that we were here?
Yeah.
You know what I
not
mean?
pick up a piece of grass or something cool.
Right.
Let me disparage the field. That's worse than Auburn stomping on the eye.
Speaking of Auburn, the last time that they won here was 1999. That is when Cole Kubelik and his fellow teammates, Bo Nix, was the quarterback.
The dad?
Bo Nix Sr. Was it Patrick Nix? I think was his name. That's the last time LSU has won, or excuse me, the last time that Auburn has won at LSU was 1999 with Auburn in town. And that's
Man,
the night that they
really?
fired up the cigars. Yeah, I mean, it's
Wow.
crazy to think that Auburn
It
has
is. I thought they
not
had won here since
won
then.
a game, and for a while it was going back and forth where only the home team
Mm-hmm.
was winning the game. Now Jarrett Lee and LSU in 2008 went into Auburn and got a road win, and that was the first one in a long time in that series. And since then, LSU has had a little bit of success. I know I was at the 20, I believe, was it 2012 game
Yes,
with Zach
it was pouring.
Mettenberger
That game,
and Spencer Ware. It was a terrible, terrible game.
it poured.
It wasn't raining.
Oh well, there was an Auburn game here that it poured.
Oh,
Right
Auburn
on-
game here.
That was
Yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
2019. It was sludgy.
No,
like it
it
wasn't
was-
nice.
No,
I
that was
thought
the
it was-
Jarvis Landry Odell Beckham year. So that must have been 2013.
It was 2013.
2013,
You're right.
the year that
It was miserable.
What
Like,
is this? Is this an odd
downpour.
year? Is 2021? Yeah, so it must have been 2013. That it was raining, and that was a good game.
It was a good game.
Like people left that game. Auburn went to the national championship
I
that year.
remember that. I actually remember that game.
I mean, that was Auburn's only loss of the season. And that was a game that LSU really controlled
Yeah, that was
from start to
crazy.
finish, but it was a real, like, good, sneaky good game. That was back in the day where nobody would stay for the games. Everybody would just go in
Mm-hmm.
and leave. And the rain, obviously, that night had something to do with it. But even without the rain, there was a big push and contingency of, people weren't even paying attention to the games. They were just going in, tailgating, and
Yeah.
leaving. That was the Les Miles effect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I remember some of these years.
LSU was ranked number 6
35-21 in the rain. That's pretty high scoring.
It was. I mean, Jarvis Landry had a huge night.
7 catches, 118 for a tud.
I remember that touchdown. That's the one he was diving into the pylon and like slid into the fence because it was so wet. The turf was so. I mean, it was a sloppy night.
It was.
Man. It was a wet, just nasty night.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, you looked back on that game and you were like, damn. I mean, LSU handled Auburn, a national championship team, and really with 2 minutes left in that national championship game, they had the lead, and that was Jameis Winston and who's that big tight end? He had Kelvin Benjamin. Was it Kelvin Benjamin that he hit for the score?
Yeah, that's who he hit in the back of the end zone to win the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Auburn's first loss of the season.
That was their only loss.
Only
of the
loss.
season.
Yeah, but that was the first that season. That was crazy.
That wasn't the year of the pick six, the kick six, and the.
I think it was.
And the Georgia Miracle, was it?
Trying to think of 2013 is when it was.
Because that was Nick, the defensive back that he put at quarterback that ran the spread like after Cam Newton.
It was 2013. Yeah, Nick Marshall.
Nick Marshall.
He was a good player.
Hell yeah,
he was
good.
a corner that they moved to quarterback, and he could sling that thing. Yeah, kick six was 2013, so they needed that to propel them. Was 2013 when they went to the Natty?
Yes, that team went to the national championship. I mean, that was Gus's first year.
When they play Oregon?
The year before that, they were 0-for. Gene Chizik didn't win a game the year before that. Maybe he won a game. He didn't win a conference game.
He came from Arkansas State with the guy we just interviewed.
He came from Arkansas State, and that was his first season on the Plains. And the big deal was moving Nick Marshall to quarterback. I mean, he had found his guy, and next thing you know, they're in the Natty.
34-31. I remember watching that game now.
Only loss of the season was LSU.
Until the Natty. Kick six to get to the national championship. Could you imagine?
And the win over Georgia, the miracle to beat Georgia.
Oh, the tip?
Yeah, the tip.
You kind of think that they were a team of destiny at that point, right? If
Yes.
you were an Auburn fan, like,
how could you bet against them?
How could we lose?
How could you bet against them? Who'd they play in the SEC championship game that year? Was that Spurrier in South Carolina? Or was Cam Newton against Spurrier in South Carolina? I want to say that when Spurrier took South Carolina to the SEC title game, that it was against Cam Newton.
Missouri.
They almost beat him.
Was that...
That was the running back. They had that good running back.
Freaking Missouri.
Trying to think.
Shit, Missouri went to the SEC championship 3 years in a row.
Yeah, Missouri's crazy.
The East was down bad.
It was bad. It was
was-
bad. But
where was
Missouri
Florida?
wasn't.
Oh, that was
Will Muschamp.
Was that Muschamp or McElwain?
I think it was Muschamp.
Muschamp.
Yeah, Muschamp. All right, stick around. All right, well, let's.
Now it's time to call
Yes.
Megan.
All right, we're gonna talk to Megan Makin Money here. Give me 1 minute.
Jesus.
I'm telling you, that was a great game. What was Missouri's
Wait,
running
what
back
was it?
name?
They were number 5 in the country. They would have gone to the national
Missouri's
championship.
running back that day in the SEC title game broke Justin Vincent's SEC title rushing record.
Oh, Trey Mason
from
did.
2003. Trey Mason?
Yeah,
Oh, Trey Mason.
304
That's right.
yards.
Auburn's running back. Trey Mason.
Trying to see who their quarterback was. Duriel Green Beckham. Remember him? He
Yes,
was the number 1
DGB.
recruit.
He's still in the league.
Yeah, they moved to tight end.
Still in the league.
Where is he?
Quarterback.
Where is DGB?
He's
Philly?
Around. I thought I saw him in Philly. I've seen him in Tennessee.
I've seen him in Tennessee.
He's out there.
Yeah, he's too good to cut.
Yeah,
He's just too good.
Vet men.
He's too good to cut. Too big of a headache to keep.
Bet he's
You know what I mean? But he's awesome.
player. God.
That's right. All right, we're going to come back and talk to Megan Making Money Daily. We're brought to you by A-Bear Specialty Meats. Remember, if you're tailgating this weekend, doesn't matter if it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, A-Bears is ready for you. Highway 73, right off the interstate right there. Stop in and pick up a fresh selection of burgers. They got great selections of boudin, crackling, all of your tailgate musts they have over to A-Bear. Stop in and see them right next to Dutchtown High School. Dutchtown Shopping Center, Highway 73, A-Bear Specialty Meats. Let them be your tailgate headquarters this weekend, whether it's Friday night, Saturday night, or Sunday. Going to be a tough turnaround for those of you that want to do the LSU game on Saturday night and the Saints game on Sunday. LSU 8 o'clock kickoff with the Saints nooner on Sunday is a tough turnaround. Look at the guy. Going vest and new Nikes today, Shea. It's good to see him. We'll talk to Megan Making Money when we come back, and Shea is in
Had
for a
pictures
segment as well.
yesterday.
What?
I said we had pictures yesterday. Shea came up dressed to the nines. Could have got some free headshots. Oh!
Wow. Just stepped out of the phone booth from Clark Kent to Superman.
In the blink of an eye.
We'll talk to Megan Makin Money next. What up, playa? True Blue Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. All right, welcome back in here to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Shea Dixon in studio. We will talk about the recruiting weekend coming up here. We've mentioned how big of a football weekend this is, both on Saturday and Sunday. Two of our Barstool favorites. Ben Mintz will be here tomorrow. Megan Makin Money is here every Thursday. It is good to talk to her. Last week she was in the air heading to Chicago, which looked like a beautiful weekend in Chi-Town. Last week we're up there for the Wisconsin-Notre Dame game with the rest of some of her Barstool co-workers. It is good to patch back up with Megan Makin Money here this morning. Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are y'all?
Doing good. How was Chi-Town?
It was beautiful.
Yes.
I actually both sides of my family are originally from Illinois, so I haven't been up there in probably like 6 years. So it was nice to get back up there and be back around family, and it was so beautiful. I mean, it was not a cloud in the sky while we were there, and no humidity either, so that was perfect.
One of my favorite cities on earth, especially in the warm season. Once it gets cool, yeah. I'm out, bro. I'm out.
I put it on the record. I liked it way better than New York. So
really,
yeah, way better.
Okay.
I'm 1,000 times better.
I love how you are needling Brandon Walker. It looks like y'all two are hitting it off fantastically here early on in your Barstool life. Tell me about that relationship.
He's just mad that I'm better than him at NFL, and that I'm more witty than him. I think that's what the big thing is, and we just have a nice little head-to-head every day where we try to just dig each other or out-dig each other every day. And, it's pretty much been the bit, and he hates to love me, but he can't help himself.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you are the Alabama in that relationship, and he is, well, the Mississippi State of that relationship. Sorry, Katie. You still got baseball season. All right, who do we like? Where are we going? How do we like this weekend? This is a fantastic football weekend. Who do you like this weekend?
So it is a fantastic football weekend, and I'm weirdly not super confident in like any of my last week. I loved plays. Like I was all over SMU. I took them. It was plus 9.5, and then I also sprinkled some on the money line there. I secretly hammered LSU. I didn't want anyone to know about that. I feel like anytime I publicly bet them, they get slaughtered. And so I no longer will do that to LSU. Also, Alex, my husband, has been wearing the shirt since Central Michigan. And since he's been wearing that shirt, we've been rolling. So he will be wearing that shirt. I will be there on Saturday. I'm just so excited about it. So, yeah, I will definitely be there. But as of right now, this one, I'm already sweating about this game. And, it's not even Saturday. But I like Arkansas catching 18.5.
I love it.
I can't. I believe in this Arkansas team, and I've said last week they had 3 decisive wins under their belt, and now they have 4. 2 of which being a Texas A&M team that everyone was just amazed with before the season started. For what reason, I don't know. They haven't played anyone of relevance, and then they beat Texas, who we know can be extremely explosive. And this Arkansas team just seems like they're gritty. They just grind. They don't stop. Do I think they win? Probably not. But I feel like 18.5 is disrespectful to a 4-0 Arkansas team that's in the SEC. I think that's just too many there.
It's an enormous number. It's an enormous number.
Call me crazy.
I'm with you. I mean, it jumps out at you for sure. All right, where are we headed next?
I am going to go ahead and be the mouse taking the cheese here. I'm taking Michigan at Wisconsin. I was at that game last week. Wisconsin just fell flat on their face. I also had the under, which ironically blew up in my face in the last, 4 minutes of the game with 2 pick six. Wisconsin, I don't know how they're going to move the ball. I think, they'll definitely, the score will definitely be lower. It's not going to be Michigan's, big explosive games like they've been having. But I think I have Michigan money line here. I think that they're going to be able to pull an upset over Wisconsin. I loved Wisconsin earlier in the year, but I'm just getting further and further back on them. I think Michigan's going to use them to really solidify their spot in the Big Ten. I'm a mouse taking the cheese here on this trap game. It is what it is.
One thing that we haven't talked about this college football season is that Michigan is 4-0. I mean, I know it's easy to hate on and bang on Harbaugh, and I love to do it. I'm usually first in line. But, I mean, first in the Big Ten Eastern Division right now, and I know that, you hadn't played a lot of people, but, I mean, you beat Washington 31-10. The storylines are much better around Harbaugh is all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that they're winning the national championship, but they are 4-0, though.
I see. I'm with you there. And, again, a lot of people are all over Wisconsin, but I watched Wisconsin play last week and literally in person, and I just was not that impressed. Sure, their defense is great and supposed to defense win championships, but I'm just going to go ahead and, as I said, take the bait with Michigan there. I also like Purdue -2 at home against Minnesota. I know Minnesota can get lucky, but Purdue just has, I feel like, kind of a bend don't break, and they're gritty, and they're just going to grind until the fourth quarter. And I think 2 is a pretty relatively easy number to cover there for Purdue. Also, I've been back and forth on this team, but I'm taking Texas I got a -5.5. They're back down to 5 at TCU. I know Gary Patterson's great at adjusting game by game, but look, Texas has just learned how to open the lid and blow people out whenever they're ready. And look, I took SMU, as I said last week, because I haven't been impressed with anything really with TCU. And that boded well for me. I think Texas is going to be the same type of deal. I think, in-state rivalry type of thing, just beating up on TCU would be completely Texas's style. That's another game that I think a lot of people are on the other side of. And I'm going to go ahead and take Texas there.
Yeah, Texas was sitting on 70 with 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter last weekend. I mean, Sark is definitely he has found a rhythm offensively where they can find some explosive plays out of a group that is very, just doesn't have a lot of explosive athletes. So, yeah, you could tell that Sark is definitely having his way. And the Cocaine Bowl, the Snow Bowl last week in Dallas between SMU and TCU definitely lived up to the billing with the Mustangs winning 42-34. All right, who else we like?
I'm going to go ahead and keep fading this team. That's Texas A&M. I'm going to go ahead and take State plus the 7. Look, I know A&M's bound for like a breakout win at some point, right? But State losing the way they did to Memphis and then losing last week to LSU, I don't think they're going to go and get blown out by A&M. I don't think A&M's blowing anybody out. So I'm going to go ahead. I think 7 I think that's just too much to hang there. And I also like Oregon State. Oregon State's been on a roll. I hate the line that I got because they opened at plus 2.5, and I took them at minus 2.5. So that's, not the best line I could have gotten there. But everyone was all over Washington beginning of the year, but Oregon State has just been on an absolute roll, and I'm going to keep riding the hot hand and the Beavers. I also took just Oregon, and I bought them down from 7.5 to 7 over Stanford. I think Oregon is a fantastic team, and Stanford's down a lot of bodies right now. So those are majority of my college picks. I don't have a play on tonight, though. Of course, I would love to see the Bengals absolutely obliterate Trevor Lawrence. Joe Burrow just obliterate Trevor Lawrence one more time. But I do have a parlay plus that we have over at Barstool Sportsbook, and they haven't made my ticket yet. But it is, let's see, I have Joe Burrow over 1.5 touchdowns, Jamar Chase over 69.5 yards, Jamar Chase to score 2 touchdowns, and the Bengals to win by 2.5, and that pays plus 1,200. That's a parlay. That's a boot parlay for you right there. That's all Joe Burrow, all Jamar Chase. I'm all in on both of them. They've just been absolutely showing out, and I know Joe is going to have to show out for the Tigers this weekend because from what I understand, he's going to be down there for the game. He doesn't want to go down there a loser, Yes. So I think he'll show out. And besides that, I got Browns -2, Bears -2.5, Dolphins money line, Seahawks money line, Chargers -3. I got a teaser with the Chiefs and the Bucks. All they have to do is win. I'm obsessed with that teaser. I don't ever say this, but I don't see how that loses. The Bucks going back up to Foxborough. You got the Chiefs who need to win a game. And they really need to win a game decisively. So yeah, I like that. And then I have a teaser with the Bengals -1.5 and the Titans down to 1.5. So those are all of the weekend plays.
Megan Makin Money. She's over at Barstool Sports. Remember, you can get in touch with her and find her on Twitter at Megan Makin Money. She is going to be at LSU on Saturday. You just bouncing around? You heading anywhere in particular?
I will be at the walk-on tailgate. The Landrys were kind enough to invite me, so I'll be over there, hopefully indulging in some delicious walk-on food and some snacks and some drinks and all that.
Sweet. Look us up. We'll be on the corner of Skip Burtman and South Stadium. Stop by and see us.
Away.
I'll come see you guys. Absolutely. I'll text you.
Megan Makin Money, Barstool Sports. Thank you for the picks. Have a great weekend.
Y'all have a great weekend, too. Go Tigers.
Yes, indeed. There's Megan Makin Money checking in here this morning as that conversation is always every Thursday. Brought to you by RMB Builders, our friends over at RMB Builders. That is Rhett Bourgeois and his crew, rmb-builders.com. All of our podcasts is brought back to you by RMB. So anything you may have missed, you can always go back. Compliments of RMB. They can custom make you a home. They can handle your handiwork. They can build you a new set.
Apparently,
you got a podcast.
I'm not
They can help you with that as well. Anything you may need, RMB Builders has got you taken care of. rmb-builders.com. I'm going to throw my underwear on the field when Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are introduced.
You're going to have to wear something first.
On Saturday. I think I'm going to wear the thong. I think I'm going to go thong on Saturday and just, yeah, that's right, slingshot it to old Joey with a note of coming back to the UDL. Can you imagine, Shea, it's good to see you. Great attire, buddy. Can you imagine what the scene is going to be like if Joey is in the building with Jamar?
Is that true?
It's not confirmed yet, but I can't imagine that is not happening.
Okay.
We just talked about
I'm
it.
gonna be.
We're putting it out there. I mean, we're putting it out into the universe.
All right, I'll put it out that I don't think he'll be there.
No, Shea.
What? I mean, y'all
party pooping
I'm not going to
motherfucker,
get on
man.
board with that. He doesn't show, and then everybody, Shea said it.
Jay said they were on
Well,
the
we
way.
were trying to get the ball rolling to where he hears it, and he's like, well, they're expecting me to be there.
Well, Megan's coming in evidently just for this.
I would too. Just the chance.
I'm asking somebody right
He's
now.
asking. He's like, I'm going to put an end to this. Didn't we put a poll up about it?
Shea,
We did. Everybody
Shea
thinks he's
was wearing
coming.
the shirt. and
Shea said
he
he's
was
not coming. Can you confirm?
Jay was.
Jimmy.
Tell me who is. It's got to be a huge recruiting weekend, right? I mean, this is. You got to take
Oh my
advantage of a
God.
Saturday
So-
night, huh?
What was the trivia time? More opinion time. What was the last true Death Valley night at LSU?
Florida.
That's what I think the answer is.
2019?
Yeah, it has to be 2019, obviously.
Oh,
Joe Burrow's senior night was. I mean, that was a great night.
yeah.
But they won 50 to
Yeah, right,
7
right,
or whatever.
The game was Florida.
Auburn would have been since then, but that was a 2:30 game. But it did come down to the end, so it'd have to be Florida when
Yeah.
a 24 Stingley as a freshman picked off Kyle Trask.
And a Burrow hit Chase down the
then Chase
sideline.
with about 5 minutes left, and that was it. Then they had a goal line stand.
That's right.
It was rocking that night.
And they got
That was-
chomped out the stadium.
That was Marcel Brooks. That was
They
the
got
dance.
chomped out the stadium. I forgot about that. Are you about to do the dance?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're doing it at TCU now, and he's catching 2 balls for 15 yards.
Lloyd can't cut to himself and do the dance, unfortunately. So,
Don't test me, son.
but yeah, so that was. I think I looked it up yesterday. That was like 730 days ago.
Wow.
So imagine for a lot of these kids, not just seniors, but guys who are juniors who now are recruitable. They have offers. They were in 9th and 10th grade, when that was happening.
Golly.
And, you can go to a game growing up and all that, but until you're being recruited and Coach O's invited you to the game and you've got an offer and you're hanging out on the sidelines, it's a completely different experience. There it is. It's a completely different experience. And I think for a lot of these kids, it'll be a first. This will be their first chance, even a lot of the commits, to see Tiger Stadium at night when it's rocking. And I think that you hear it from former players all the time. They admit, man, I was feeling all kind of schools until I had that one experience, that one night game, and it sort of hooked me in. I think that's what I know. Coach O and them are banging the phone lines this week saying, guys,
Got to get
the
here.
fans will deliver. Y'all
Yeah.
come and see it, because that's one thing they haven't been able to sell in 2 years is a packed stadium.
Harold Perkins coming in.
He is. You saw
5-star linebacker. They have a chance. I mean, they sit in a
They
good
do.
spot.
Well, remember too that his family is New Orleans natives, and with Katrina, they all ended up in Texas and Houston, and have settled in there. But his uncle Alvin, who's been like a recruiting fan favorite for LSU fans, because he'll go with them on all these visits, but like he'll be at A&M and just rocking like a Burrow 9 jersey or whatever. But he's from New Orleans, so he'll go over there and spend time with him a lot. But he gave some quotes yesterday to us that Harold, 5-star linebacker, was down to said, hey, this weekend I want to go to either A&M or LSU. And it sounded like Alvin almost put his foot down and said, look,
I'm not going to A&M anymore.
Yeah, right. You've been saying you want to experience Tiger Stadium like it's supposed to be. Well, this is the chance. And I know Harold was going to wait until Friday, play his game and all that, and then decide on Saturday where he was going. But then yesterday, which was Wednesday, he was like, all right, I'm decided. I'm definitely going to LSU this weekend. So that's a big one. I mean, we've talked about how bad they need linebackers, how bad they need them in this class, be elite ones. They haven't signed a 5-star linebacker in a while, and sometime. I mean, Devin White, Patrick Queen, all these guys grew into great linebackers, but they weren't even 5-stars out of high school. Harold Perkins is the real deal. So he's certainly the biggest out-of-state visitor so far, but there's going to be a lot of them.
We
It's gonna
talked.
be a good list.
We talked to Walker Howard yesterday morning.
What did he say? I meant to go listen to it.
He's gonna
coming?
He's gonna be there on Saturday night for sure. He's gonna room with Will Campbell after the news of Campbell enrolling early popped over the weekend. How big is that of getting Campbell here down in the spring?
I mean, massive. That's a 5-6 month head start.
Yeah.
And if you have any hopes of Will Campbell playing right away, you want him to be there as much as he can. So if he can get here by January and go through, all of the offseason with Moffitt and them, go through all of spring ball, then by the time the rest of the kids' signees get here in the summer, he's got a nice head start on him. So the Will Campbell, as many guys as you can get to enroll early is big, even more so when they're quarterbacks, when they're offensive linemen, when they're positions that are going to take some time to get adjusted to.
Jamar Chase just named the Offensive Rookie of the Month in the NFL, as that was just put out by, I believe Pepsi put that out, but the NFL just announced it, that Jamar Chase is named NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Month for the month of September, so his first 4 games in the league. Pretty good start for Jam.
Thought he was dropping everything.
Not a bad start, huh? And that was great. That first week's touchdown that looked just like the Natty game touchdown.
It did.
That
video edit that LSU did was pretty special.
That was cool. Matt Turnquist, that was a very cool video. I almost feel like there's going to come a point where T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and them look around and are like, oh, I see what's going on here.
I got it.
I was the
Bad
man
boss.
last year.
Yeah, right.
Don't like each other.
So where are they in recruiting right now? What's the buzz around LSU right now? How's the feeling around this program? Because, I mean, we know the talent around the state this year. What's the buzz around the program?
I mean, I'd say positive, but I mean, they're blocking out the noise. They're trying to stay positive about everything. I think in a way, even from talking to different, you hear the players, you talk to different coaches. I think last year and the start of this year humbled them a bit, almost to the point of, let's not say we're out here and we're not the best team in the country, that we should be winning every game. I think Orgeron said it well yesterday, and I think this is sort of the focus of the team, is that the goal right now is next week, Saturday, this week.
Yeah.
And if we can just keep chipping away a little bit, the schedules, and I'll add this part, he didn't say it, but the schedule sets yourself up nice for that. You get Auburn, that's a beatable team at night in Tiger Stadium. You go on the road to Lexington, that's a very tough place historically for LSU to win, but it's a winnable game. I mean, you know that if you keep chipping away, you get to that when you get through it. It's no different than what we said after the UCLA game, Jordy. It's, okay, they lost. If you can just get through these next few weeks, get on the road, beat State, doesn't matter how, just get out of there with a win and come back to Auburn, be 3-1, 4-1, whatever it is, 3-1, and go into that game with a chance. You've got a chance to steady things. Well, that's where we're at now. So they win this weekend. Then it turns into, how can you beat Kentucky? How can you get back here versus Florida and all of a sudden be 6-1 and really at a chance where you and a team like Florida are going to kind of be taking one direction and the other one going in the other direction. That's what's going to happen this weekend. 2 3-1 teams. Auburn hadn't even played an SEC game yet. They lose. They're 3-2, 0-1 in the SEC, and barely beat Georgia State or whatever it was. Lost at Penn State, and then LSU. If you lose, it's back to 3-2. Right when we thought we had some momentum, right when we had a great crowd atmosphere, we go out and lose. So I think this is a big weekend for which team's ascending and which team's going in the wrong direction here in the West.
Jamon Tapp is a big defensive end right here out of the local area. Goes to Ascension Catholic. Everybody's talking about Quincy, and he's a must-get. But up there, they're both must-gets, right?
Oh, yeah.
Quincy Wiggins and Jamon Tapp. Tapp is committed to Texas.
He is.
But expected to be there on Saturday. Where do they stand with him?
I think they're in an okay spot, good spot. Continue to chip away there. I mean, look, when you're a kid from Donaldsonville and you commit to Texas 7 months until signing day, you know that LSU's they're not going to bat an eye. They're just going to keep slowly working him. And I think Andre Carter's done well there. They've got a number of guys on staff who have put in a lot of time with Tapp, his family, his grandma. So I think they'll be in a good spot. I think that the 2 times or whatever they could have kids in for home games this year, he's been at both of them. So he's showing you the interest. He's being around. This was a kid that during that 2019 season, he was one of the very first kids in this class to get an offer as a local guy. But I remember his Twitter profile forever was him and Mike Thomas because he ran into him on the sidelines of the LSU game. I can't remember what game that was, but Mike Thomas was there. A bunch of Saints guys were there. So he's been around Tiger Stadium atmosphere enough. He knows what...
Was that the Alabama? I think that was an Alabama
Maybe
game.
it was Bama.
Yeah.
He knows what the program's got to offer. I still feel like that's one that ultimately comes back around to LSU as long as things stay stable, and again, if they end up losing and then you get into some discussion down the road about coaching, whatever it might be, all bets are off, obviously. So if they continue to play well, I think they're going to get a guy like Jamon Tapp.
Brandon Dixon wants to know, inside of the bunker, hashtag Ask Shea, is LSU all in on Ricky Collins?
I thought he was going to come with some family talk right there.
I saw you tense up.
right around the corner.
And I don't even know him.
What's going on with Aunt?
Ida May.
Yeah, right.
Head in the car.
Ricky Collins, obviously the quarterback at Woodlawn. He plays for Marcus Randall, old LSU quarterback.
That's right.
So they offered him this summer at camp. I was there that day, and he had played well last season, put up really good numbers, but I think they played like 5 games or whatever during the COVID season. So they wanted to eval him over the summer and watched him at LSU camp. Then they watched him at the LSU 7-on-7. He threw great that day, and they sort of just like, boom, offered on the spot. I mean, Pete's and George Munoz and Coach O, all those guys said, hey, look, let's pull the trigger right now. Good-sized kid's got a good arm. You know, he's going to be developed under a guy like Marcus Randall, who's your head coach that played quarterback, you know, at the highest level, played in the SEC. He's got a teammate named Jordan Matthews who's got an LSU offer who they're really in on. It's tough to say that they're like all in on him right now because he's a 2023 quarterback and they're still doing a lot of evals nationally. But I think the writing's also on the wall with Arch Manning in a way that, you know, he's taking all these visits this fall. None of them are to Baton Rouge. And then the other big quarterback in the state is Eli Holstein, who's already committed to A&M. So I think Ricky Collins has put himself into a good spot to potentially be the quarterback in that class. But I also still think they'll recruit some national guys and sort of get a feel. Watch all those guys as, what are they right now, juniors in high school. Watch all their junior film and go from there.
Holstein versus Collins Friday night. Zachary hosting Woodlawn.
Is that this week?
Yeah, Woodlawn schedule. I mean, they played everybody. They got Zachary this Friday night. Hashtag Ask Shea. Andrew Messina wants to know, where does LSU stand with Denver Harris, cornerback out of North Shore?
Yeah, I like Denver Harris a lot. I think
Tack Miner's stepson.
I think they've got a real shot here. Look, Bama has always been viewed as the team to beat. Bama's gotten some kids from North Shore recently. That's where Caleb Chason went, Eric Monroe. But more recently, Bama's gotten some guys from there. Now, granted, this is a team that has 15 D1 kids. So a lot of schools are going to be at the North Shore. But I do think LSU's track record of DBs, them knowing, look, you're on the back end of Stingley's career. A year from now, you'll be on back end of Ricks's. Like, you've got to flip that room. You've got to be ready to say it's going to be Dwight McGlothern and who else, or, you know, whatever it might be. And I think a guy like Denver Harris sees that and is hearing it. He's already made an official visit with his family. He'll probably get in for a game. Everyone has said Bama's a front runner. I'm fine saying that. I like LSU as then the other team that, you know, when you throw in Texas and A&M and all these other schools recruiting him, I think LSU would be that other team that's really in the mix.
Hashtag Ask Shea. Cody Boudreaux wants to know, Shea, is Jordy a little too high on Shaz Preston?
No.
I didn't know where that question was going.
Could have gone a lot of different ways.
No, I think that...
Thank you, Shea.
Right now.
I think Shaz has been the most consistent 2022 with class 3 and 22.
Yeah.
Louisiana receiver across the whole board. I mean, he was winning state championships as a sophomore. You know, so...
This is Aaron Anderson and all those guys in that group.
And I think Aaron Anderson's the other guy you would really debate. Kendrick Law is more of an athlete type. You could probably throw him in a few positions, even on defense. So I hate to put him into that conversation. The thing with Anderson, he's so electric. Right now, Carr has no quarterback play. We've seen that happen. They're starting to just give him jet sweeps, give him little tosses. His touchdowns, the majority of them have come on special teams this year.
The punt return.
I think he could be a guy that even next year, if you feel good about him catching the ball, you're putting him out there because he's electric in the return game. But I think Shaz has the best overall resume of them all, and then you throw in his body type. I mean, Aaron Anderson, too, is a guy that's 5'7", 5'8". You know, he is a slot electric return guy for you. Shaz can be an outside guy. I like. There's a reason that Bama and LSU and Georgia are fighting over Shaz Preston.
Update on Quincy. We were talking about it yesterday. We saw him on social media. He had a LSU hat on. He had a Bama shirt on. He had Florida shorts on, and he had Georgia socks on.
And I don't even know what his top teams are.
He's put Southern in the mix also.
That's right.
Yep. Right. I think probably just status quo there. I don't think he's in much of a rush. I know he's going to play in the All-American Bowl at the end of the year. I don't know if he plans to announce then, but I would think that it becomes a little more clear what he's up to as we get towards November, December. But I think obviously for a Baton Rouge kid that they've had around a lot, you feel good about that. Bama's in it. I couldn't see him going anywhere beyond those two schools.
Yeah. Jalen Hale is a wide receiver out of Texas who's going to be here this weekend. He's a 2023 kid.
He's a 5-star.
Is LSU still having the impact in Texas with Texas selling the SEC brand now?
We'll see, but I mean, look, right now Harold Perkins is coming in, Jalen Hale's coming in. You just got Nussmeier a year ago. You've got some good guys in the pipeline in terms of guys that are recruiting. Houston will always be an area they can recruit. They have an alumni base there. It's a big city to where they've got enough connects at different high schools they'll always be in on. But I think it'll also come back. Just the more you recruit the state of Louisiana, I think the better this roster ultimately looks. I mean, it's like this. Like Jalen Hale is a 5-star, number 2 receiver, whatever. And if you get him, it's great. It's no different than in this class. That's Evan Stewart, 5-star, number 1 receiver out of Florida, or, has played in, out of Texas. And then you look at a guy like, I think he's in Texas, but he just shut down his year. He's not even going to play the rest of his senior year, but you still would take him. I mean, he's a 5-star. He's a beast. When is the last time LSU's had an out-of-state receiver? Deion Smith?
Right.
Beyond that, I mean, you can go get Besh, Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Marshall, Keyshawn Butte, all these guys right here. They all live in this state. So I like that they swing for the fences with a lot of these guys, and in Texas you'll do it with the receivers and whatnot. But if I'm focused on Texas, it's usually at DB, it's usually at linebacker, and then offensive line if they can pop any of those guys.
Hashtag Ask Shea. Daniel Glenn wants to know, is Azera Thomas watching LSU or Florida more this month?
Thomas is a guy, he's been on, I think he just went to the Florida game a couple of weeks ago.
Is this the kid from Neville?
No, Azariah Thomas. He's from Florida. Where does he goes to Niceville, the same school as Kimo Makaniole, the village freshman lineman. So he's a corner, and Corey Raymond really likes him a lot. His brothers both go to Georgia Tech, so like you'll see him at Georgia Tech a lot. His mom goes to every game, so he's been making a lot of visits right now. Like Florida, he went by himself because his mom went to the Georgia Tech game to watch her other 2 sons, and he's got Georgia Tech in the mix. He's kind of a funny kid, like where people down there in Florida have said like, he could go to Georgia Tech. Why? And he's a baller. So I think the goal for LSU, they've already had him on an official, is to get him back. And I think what everybody's circling is LSU Florida's in 2 or 3 weeks, and a lot of their Florida kids will be in for that one.
Andrew Messina asks Shea, other than Will Campbell, Emery Jones, and Bo Bordelon, what other offensive linemen are targets for LSU?
Yeah, they've got Fitzgerald West out of Lafayette Christian, who
signed as a center.
He's ranked as a D lineman, but they worked him out at camp as a center and liked him there. They still have guys out there. Julian Armella in Florida is an offensive tackle who has been on the board for a while. They've been pushing for some other guys. I think that they fill up ultimately there in the transfer portal. I won't be surprised if they took 2 or 3 guys out of the transfer portal on the offensive line. I know for a fact they'll take, at the very minimum, 1. It'll be more than that because I know they've already got their sights set on some guys who could potentially be making a move or whatever it might be. 2 or 3. I mean, you've got a struggling O-line right now, and you're about, with not a ton of depth, and you're about to lose a lot of those starters after this year. So, quick fix. How do you find it? And look, guys like Emery Jones, Will Campbell, you'd love if they come in and they're ready, but you need some vets up in there.
Speaking of Emery, what did you make of the John Emery situation?
I don't know. I guess I'm not surprised. I thought the longer it dragged on, the worse, it was.
Yeah.
It's not like it came back that following Monday like, yeah, look, 3 hours, you're right, take it. I would guess this means he's probably not playing at all this year.
Yeah.
People got real mad when I ever said, I wonder if this is the last time he suits up. Like, could he test the draft? And my God, they were furious.
Why would he not? I'm with you. I agree with you. Why would you take those?
I'm not saying.
Why would you take those hits for free?
I'm just saying that a lot of guys view this as a 3-year plan.
Sure.
If you're a 5-star number 1 running back in the country, you've got it in your head. This is a 3-year thing for me.
Yeah.
Now, granted, doesn't have a ton of film. Now he's been out for a year, but it's not like he was injured.
Test me.
It's not like he was injured.
Test me.
I mean, if you can start running, start getting into shape, and look, he's a guy, and people will say, look, he doesn't have the film. If he goes to the combine, in high school he was jumping 41 inches. That's what Derek Stingley jumps.
No, he's a freak.
He is a freak. He runs a faster short shuttle than Derek Stingley does. He can run a 4.5 easily, and he can get sub that. So,
I mean, don't think
and then they say, oh, wait, you don't have any wear and tear on you?
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly. And your issues were academics? You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're dealing. It's not, you know what?
Sean McVay,
Andy Reid, I mean, some of these elite
and he's a pass
play
catcher.
callers, that's what I'm saying. They look at him and say, no, we'll take him. Well, just spend a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick or an undrafted free agent on him.
That's what a lot of people said. He'll have no shot to get drafted. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Go jump 40 and run a 4.5.
Exactly.
Run a short shuttle like he does, and then catch some nice balls, and I guarantee you.
Joe Brady
you
in
ain't
Carolina
getting-
be backing up Christian
you ain't
McCaffrey
getting
for the
into-
next
You
decade.
ain't getting into the 5th, 6th, 7th round, and they're taking Joe Schmo from Central Connecticut
exactly.
who's got 4,000 rushing yards. But I don't know what he's doing. I'm just saying, don't be surprised.
No, I'm with
if
you.
That's an
But
option.
I mean, if you go back and listen to the first part of the show, I said pretty much the same thing. I don't know why he would come back. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Do you expect Saturday night to be jumping?
I mean, I do. Why
Yeah,
are people don't?
I think earlier this week, some people, I mean, like they were like tickets available. Some people saying they weren't going. I'm not buying it either. I expect 103,000. I think that it's jam packed. I mean, because I mean, it would be like saying St. Patrick's Day is on Saturday to Baton Rouge. Like people are gonna be like, I'm going. You know what I mean? Like I haven't had a chance to do this in so long. I'm doing it. I mean, you've got a night game at Tiger Stadium on Saturday. You haven't had a chance to do this. Would you say over 700 days?
Yeah, and I would say, too, that a lot of people have strong opinions on how the team had played, on the restrictions, all this.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of people's bluffs get called this week. It'll be packed out.
Yeah, right.
Wait,
From fans to administrators.
Which one were y'all were the ones who said, I'm not going to a game?
Screaming from the mountaintops.
Double birds to everything that's LSU right now. And then but hey, look, that's what
this fan base
all
does.
is forgiven. Just show up and yell. And
I wouldn't be.
good. I won't be surprised if you can spot some open seats in the upper deck, but that's common. That's commonplace. I bet it'll be loud.
Wear your thong, Shea D, and make sure and shoot him at Joey B when he's introduced on Saturday night because it's happening.
It's gonna look like Florida Bama in there with just
absolutely
bras on the ceiling.
just I mean
over the wires,
overhang.
the cameras that come out and zoom down.
Can somebody move those panties out of the way of the play clock? Thank you. Just remnants of Jamar Chase and Joey Burrow.
Pete's is getting plays in slow again. No, there's panties over the camera.
Yeah, got a brawl over the guy's head who's sending the plays in. I think it's Burrow.
Let Burrow call one.
Let him play. All right, Shea, good to see you, brother.
Not still
All right,
available.
y'all.
Thank you.
Good to see all y'all.
Absolutely. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Stick around. We're going to talk to Cole Kubelik tomorrow and get his thoughts. Last time Auburn won a game in Tiger Stadium was 1999, and Cole Kubelik was the starting center. We'll ask you about some of those memories and what his thoughts
1999.
are on the weekend. So many good football games to talk about with Kubelik tomorrow, whether it is Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky, Alabama, Ole Miss, and of course LSU, Auburn, amongst some on the docket this weekend. Have a great Thursday. Stay dry out there. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Go Chevrolet drives us every single day here on the Jordy Culotta Show.